And then let the work pay off on a game-to-game basis, and hopefully I can continue to make my fans proud. That allows me to be on such a stage, so it's always an honor.
LeBron conducting on Spectrum Sports
mariachi band back there
after his Lakers outscored the Bulls 141-132.
LeBron at this point of his life saying, "I put the work in." I mean, what is that quote? I mean,
okay, I think when we remember this time in our lives, there's going to be two quotes: the vibes being immaculate, and doing the work. Everyone's doing the work. Back to you.
And I will point out that he's 104 years old and is all-star worthy, so he actually has put in the work to make this possible.
Yes. Yeah. I just think every time LeBron hits a milestone or everything, he's going up there and saying it's such an honor. He seems so bored by hitting all these marks at this point. I'd honestly
not Kareem's. That seemed like
that one was a big deal, but no, he every 2 weeks he has some new record, and he's just saying, "Oh, this is such an honor, it means so much to me in NBA history." I don't think he means any of that. Like that quote there, that he doesn't care about being a 20th All-Star game, does he?
Wait till we get the LeBron 10, 20-part documentary. Every one of these milestones is going to be a chapter.
Are you kidding me? The way he wants to talk about how much better he is than Jordan, he's counting all these as hope that he can somehow make this a race.
It's an honor. I just put in the work and hope I can play. I don't think he cares anymore about that stuff. I think he's just hanging on for Bronny at this point, right? I don't know. Where is LeBron now? He's really good. I know he's playing really well, but if he really wanted to get another ring, he would have probably left the Lakers at this point.
It's not an easy where he would go, though.
Yeah,
it's not an easy fit. Because I don't think the Warriors wanted him.
Man,
a couple years ago.
Look at me throwing out a side LeBron lob out of nowhere. Go ahead.
LeBron with 25 and 12 assists in this win last night. He is joined in the West starting five by Luka, KD, Jokic, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Giannis, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid from the East. All-Star Weekend's in Indy next month. It's apparently going to include a three-point shootout between Steph Curry and WNBA star Sabrina Ionescu.
Do you know who holds the record for the most points in a three-point competition? Sabrina? I think I gotta bring her out and be like, we gotta settle this once and for all.
I know, that's what they said. I was talking to my agent about it because my agent is her agent. Instead of Indy, y'all probably gonna do something.
I think I got a challenge. Hell yeah. It'd be lit.
It'd be lit, and that was somehow caught by TNT microphones last night.
Wow, how?
Yeah, I don't know how. What a stroke of luck for those guys.
Say, hey, rookie, Brandon Podzinski, come here. Let me just ask you some
her
things
agent's
about...
my agent.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wait, hold on. This is not exactly setting up like the Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs Battle of the Sexes. I'm not getting that vibe from this challenge. Should I be?
Yes. This is awesome.
No, it's awesome.
No,
I feel like the stakes, they're not setting it up like a Battle of the Sexes type thing.
I think they will. I mean, we got this reporting very recently.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I wish they would have done, and look, Sabrina had that crazy three-point shootout last year where she made like 28 out of 30 or whatever she did, something that we'd never seen before. I would love to have seen them do two women's and men's three-point contests. But at the end of the day,
like mixed teams?
I mean, so in college, when you do the college one, it's a women's and men's that they do, and then the champions face off at the end.
Oh, interesting.
And with the way the San Antonio contest has kind of been a dud, this could have been the way you end All-Star Saturday night, is you have the three-point contest and then have this thing, instead of just having, all right, Sabrina and Steph, two people who won't be in the contest, just face off randomly.
Right.
A little weird.
Put some more stakes on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And make it a real competition.
As opposed to just some kind of publicity.
One-off, right.
Do you know how we gave you a hard time about the in-season tournament? Take the NBA skills competition and bury it underneath the ocean in the Mariana Trench. I'm sorry. If you're into that, EJ, I cannot go there with you. The NBA skills night is awful. Oh, even the three-point, it's nothing like when I was a kid.
Not anymore.
What?
It's so
they shoot way better
bad.
now. What do you mean?
It's so bad.
I mean, Karl Anthony Towns won it.
I mean, they put a G Leaguer won the dunk contest last year.
I asked you about the three-point shootout.
Honestly, I don't even know who wins them anymore. Those things are way jump the shark.
I don't know who wins them, but they're bad. That's Perloff to T.
You think? Okay. You think I'm alone not caring about the NBA skills competition? It's a waste of a night.
Oh,
it used to be cool when I was a kid. getting
Oh, yes. When Larry Bird made 10 threes.
Yeah, then walk
out of 30,
off.
it was awesome. But when Steph made 28 out of 30, it was
They have like lime green balls, and no one even knows the rules or what's going on.
Wait, I love the extra ball, the one at the end that's a different color than all the
Yeah,
rest
but
of them. It
now
means
there's a
something
whole
else.
rack. Did you
There's
even
a
know
whole
there's
rack of money
There's
balls.
a rack of money balls, and they're not ABA colored like they used to be. There's like marketing, and it's
I don't
terrible.
mind the skills competition. I just don't like it when they will shoehorn some kind of Steph Curry, Ayesha Curry game show that also has. So I like the skill stuff is fine. It's what it is. But you don't have to give me all the other.
No.
And by the way, you talk about G Leaguers, but Mac McClung went out there and put on an absolute show last year.
It was great.
And it was
And
great.
he hasn't been in the
I-
NBA since. That was the problem from the
Well,
beginning.
that's the
Right, but no,
players,
but
man.
There's a
yes,
whole
right,
league of
right.
dudes who were like, I'm good. So we had to go to the minors and get a guy who we never
but
saw again.
but were you not entertained?
I was
not entertained.
I knew exactly
watch
what was
it?
coming.
Maggie, you watched the Saturday event?
I did. I've got a young child at home. I don't do anything.
You're saying Mac McClung versus Terrence Ross, I don't even know who the other guys were, is better than Dominique versus Michael
Nobody
Jordan?
See, like you always do that. It's always in my day, it was and like I'm telling you, what they're
Well,
doing
it was.
today was fine.
This one works.
EJ, sometimes you don't understand that you are in a small minority of people who don't hate the NBA skills competition. It is the lamest thing on the sports calendar.
Are you serious? We have
That
a pro,
one
we have
where
the
they
Pro
like
Bowl.
throw
What
it
are you
into a
talking
little
about?
Bounce pass
net.
into hoops? Come
yeah,
on.
come on.
Give me a break.
When Steve Nash did, it was cool. When it's like Laurie Markkinen, I was like, I don't know if I need to do
It
that.
wasn't
But it
even
was in
cool
Salt
with
Lake
Steve
City.
Nash.
He's dribbling with his left hand. How did he do that? Yeah, I mean, the 3-point is fine. It cannot save the other two things. They are dead in the water.
What
No, the
about
skills. I think the
obstacle
skills.
course
I think
and
the
the
skills
dunk
is bad. The
contest?
dunk contest has had trouble. The 3-point shootout's always been great, and the idea that it's somehow struggled because I don't know. Steph Curry won a couple years ago. I don't know, this idea that G Leaguers are playing in it is just
but
not true.
they're always shooting threes these days. It's not like back then when Larry Bird, when guys actually made layups. Now they're
It's a
shooting
good
threes all the
point.
time. They're shooting threes all the time, so we see it all the time. That's where the luster, I think, comes off it.
You know what? I think it's a great point by Pete. At first, I thought you were saying the 3-point competition is boring because they're only shooting threes, and I was like, wait a minute, that's the
That
point.
too.
No, your point
That
is
too.
great. they should mix it up a little bit.
You know what?
Just go to the rim. No one's playing defense.
Lower the rock and jock rims. Let's do the 40-point baskets and the 5-point basket, whatever they did.
I think Pete's right though. I think sometimes it is hard to watch NBA games when you're jacking up 43s a game. Like it's not special anymore. So
you guys,
some of the-
you guys are just ridiculous.
I like
go.
I'm sorry. You
I
guys-
like
Yeah,
the
you
new
are.
style. I like the games. I don't like the skills competition anymore.
I get where Pete's coming from. It's like one of the bigger criticisms of the NBA.
Well, right, because like even when we were growing up, sorry, EJ, like there were guys who all they did was shoot threes. So like Craig Hodges got to be fun for a night. Now the league is full of Craig Hodges.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And people like the NFL skills competition because, now they have.
They had to go to dodgeball.
No, I'm telling
Yeah,
Pretty
no,
rough
they-
over there for the
people
NFL.
like that because of the kids. Kids like the flag football that they
Oh,
play.
kids don't like the slam dunk contest. Get out of here.
All right.
It's
Are you
all for kids.
Y'all serious right now?
It's all for kids.
Can I tell you? I
We're
love.
watching it for some reason, but it's all for kids.
I watch NBA TV Hardwood Classics pretty much over anything. It's my favorite thing in the world. I watched the 1989 dunk contest the other day, and guys would take 2 dribbles and do an over-the-head dunk with no flare on it, and they'd be like, "Ooh, that's a 42."
Yeah, I'm like Matt McClung's dunk.
It has evolved.
He would have
We've
been a
kinda seen
wizard if he tried to
everything.
do a dunk in the 1985 dunk contest the way he was doing last year. Like, come on, guys.
When they started dunking over cars,
Yeah.
that you lost me there.
Well, it used to be the dunk contest has evolved greatly. Like they used to be super lame. Even the Michael Jordan from the foul line wasn't even that excited. Like they were.
Also, the dunk
Yeah.
contest is something that really benefits from an edit. When you're watching
Big
it in
time.
real time
Oh.
and guys missing dunks and it takes a while and there's a lot of
Yeah.
downtime. Now they've sped it up, so good for them.
Yeah.
But-
That's so right. I'm like, oh, look, Terrence Stansberry clanked one again.
See?
It's really better for social media.
to watch
Anyhow,
the bloopers of that.
Yeah.
That'll be a good video.
Actually, that probably is. I bet that video has 1 million views
You
on
know,
YouTube.
you
By the
know-
way, we're back up on YouTube.
By the way, you know what? The
YouTube.com/.
dunk, the guys, kind of try to throw it off the side of the backboard, and they have to like throw it like 9 times. You're sitting there watching him walk back and forth.
I always feel bad for the dude who's got to stand there with his friend jumping over his head. I'm like,
Oh.
you're just getting a lot of undercarriage there.
Yeah. No, you have to-
9 times in a row, your friend's just like, and here's my junk, and here's my junk, and here's my
Yeah.
junk.
We did
here's
this
my junk.
17 times already. Why are we doing it again?
I'm like intimately familiar now with everything thing you got going on. This is like when the quarterbacks could tell who their centers were if they were blindfolded. It's like we're in that territory.
Oh,
now.
jockey.
Yeah. And there's nothing sadder too.
Boxer briefs.
When you try that dunk, and you're not hitting that dunk, so you tell the friend, "Can you just move to the left? I'm just going to windmill it." There's nothing sadder than I can't do the hard dunk. I'm just going to get one in just so we can move on.
So the producer's got a headset on, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Bill, sorry, you have to go back to stands. I just can't jump over you.
Was there anything else? But this was an update.
It doesn't matter. Here's your junk.
Sports are happening. Back to you.
We do have a lot of sports today. The sports will be sportsing. Can the Niners win with a limited Deebo Samuel? We'll get that answer to you in just a moment. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Encouraging stuff coming out of San Francisco, Perloff, when it comes to Deebo Samuel. Now, he wasn't fully participating at practice yesterday, but was able to do some running, and things could be trending in a good direction. Now, here's the thing. Is he going to be 100%? I think that would be insane to think he's 100%. Yeah. He hurt the same shoulder that he did have the hairline fracture in earlier this season that caused him to miss 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 things. Whatever they're going to shoot into him, and you have adrenaline, and you have just the fact that Deebo is probably one of the toughest players in the NFL. So I think if you get any Deebo, that's good. I just have this vision where he's going to limp off at some point because he limped off twice in this game. One, his shoe fell off. But I do worry that he won't last the whole game. If I was betting a Deebo prop, I would go under because he doesn't know how to run in any other way. He's going to go full strength. This is definitely good for San Francisco. I think Deebo is a confidence thing for Brock Purdy, too. Just knowing he's out on the field seems to give Purdy some ease.
Well, that and you can just look at the record that they have with Deebo not on the field versus on the field. Now, I don't know how much here's the thing about Deebo. I think you're right. It's more of a confidence thing. It's not like when Deebo wasn't playing that the offense got totally broken for San Francisco. Like all of a sudden now they can't move the ball.
A little bit. No.
I don't think so. I mean, they lost. What was the game in Cleveland that they lost in the rain? It was like 31-30, wasn't it?
No, I think they had 17 points 3 weeks in a row. I saw.
Oh, that was Minnesota. I know that game was tough.
Oh, did they get it that high in Cleveland?
I thought it was pretty high. I think there's still that's the whole thing about the 49ers. There's still enough weapons there. There should be enough weapons there for Brock Purdy to be able to take advantage. And in this particular game, you're talking about taking advantage of more of the explosive plays down the field because the Lions secondary has been their Achilles heel.
I think, and we'll break down the game more later, the key for Brock Purdy is don't throw interceptions. Because remember the Baltimore game, when he starts to lose it, he just throws it right to the other team. So they outgained Baltimore in that blowout loss by 100 yards. Like, they can move the ball.
Right.
The question is, can Purdy avoid mistakes? I mean, honestly, Green Bay should have had 2 picks, and one of them should have been a pick 6. So I think with a guy like Samuel, you can control the ball, keep everything a little more calm for Purdy.
Let's go to the phones. Rich is in Chicago. Good morning, Rich. What's up?
Morning, guys. Hey, I wanted to throw this out and see what your take was. I was really surprised. I guess not really, because I guess they're playing in Baltimore. But I don't understand how Baltimore is a favorite, and here's why. When you take a look at what I think are the critical factors that you can quantify, they talk about the Ravens' defense. Well, it's ranked 6th. The Chiefs are ranked 2nd. So statistically, the Chiefs have a better defense. Then you got to look at obviously the quarterbacks, which kind of stir the drink.
Yeah.
Jackson hasn't won anything. Mahomes is there every year, so you got to give the check mark to probably the Chiefs. Then you got to look at things that you can't control. That'll be the kickers and special teams, which you're probably near and dear to after watching Buffalo.
Thanks, Rich. Didn't have to rub the salt in the wound, all right?
Well done, Rich.
Well, no, I was just talking about what could be the difference in a tight game.
Which is Baltimore's favor.
No. Butker is at 94.3% on accurate kicks, and Tucker's at 86. So check Kansas City. And how about this? Then throw it on top. Things happen, as you know, excuse me, that are crazy on special teams. This is the total year rank for special teams by team. The Chiefs are number 1, and the Ravens are number 7. So you can look at any variable you want to look at.
And you think the Chiefs have the edge in all of those critical places?
Yeah, and they're a 3-point dog.
It's actually up to 4, Rich. Thank you so much. Sorry, we hear the music there. We got to get out. But the spread has climbed. The money pouring in on Baltimore.
Oh, that makes me super nervous. But I don't agree with that Justin Tucker thing because Justin Tucker is God.
855-212-4CBS. We get more into this game, both of the games. Would a loss for Lamar be unforgivable? Get to that.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He thinks Frisbee golf is the sport of the future. She's sticking with football. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
This moment for Lamar Jackson is undeniable. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We've called, and I've called Patrick Mahomes the Michael Jordan of this era. He's going to keep a lot of great quarterbacks from winning Super Bowls likely. So when you look at this heavyweight matchup between these two QBs, Perloff, this is where Lamar has to make his move. This is where he has to take advantage of, I don't know, maybe we're overstating the Chiefs' offensive woes, because I'll tell you, they look pretty good against my Bills last weekend. But this is a moment where you have home field advantage. You're favored in this game. You have a new offensive scheme that's working. You have an amazing defense. Health is on your side. All of these things, you must take advantage of this opportunity. In some ways, it's unforgivable not to, because you don't know how many more shots you're going to get like this.
I don't like when you look at a win as a quarterback stat solely. This game is not Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. I know it's being portrayed that way, but there's so much going on here, particularly with these two teams. It doesn't. I feel like this is less of a quarterback versus quarterback matchup than most games. It's not Peyton versus Tom Brady. The Ravens have so much going on, and the Chiefs are more reliant on Mahomes. I think the Ravens can beat you in multiple ways because their defense is swarming. I think the Chiefs defense has been playing well, but the Ravens defense will beat you up. They can run all over you. Lamar can run all over you. It doesn't feel like a mano-a-mano matchup to me.
Wow, I see it totally different. I mean, I give credit to these defenses, and when we get to this time of year, of course, defense is going to be the thing. But I think this game is 100% going to be defined by these quarterbacks, because who is going to be able to solve the other person's defense? Like, you've got two great defensive coordinators, and Mike Macdonald, who has really come on for the Ravens. He was the former defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. So now he gets passed over to John Harbaugh with the Ravens. Kind of surprising that that doesn't seem to be a head coach. He might not get a head coaching job this cycle, but is a hot coordinator. And then you got Steve Spagnuolo, one of the great big game defensive coordinators maybe ever. I mean, took down Tom Brady as the defensive coordinator of the Giants with awesome game plans in 2 different Super Bowls. So I think whose quarterback's going to solve this, to me, is fascinating part of it. And I think the big main storyline of this.
See, the exact opposite way. The entire game is, how do you solve Lamar Jackson? What's Spagnuolo going to... Do you think Lamar Jackson is worried about Spagnuolo?
Yes.
Spagnuolo probably hasn't slept in 7 straight days. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the other way. The defense, and you think Patrick Mahomes is worried about probably actually, but I think solving Patrick Mahomes, it's the quarterbacks, and that's why, to me, this is the other factors around Lamar and Patrick are so important here. How do you stop Lamar Jackson? I think Kansas City is probably, everyone's reporting that they're going to blitz a lot,
right,
because Lamar looked bad against the blitz. I think there's just so many other factors. It doesn't feel like a mano battle at all to me, because I don't expect Lamar to throw it all over the place. I don't think the Ravens want to do that. I think the Chiefs also, they don't want Mahomes to have a big game. They would rather win with Pacheco. So I don't think this is going to be the classic quarterback battle. I would love to see, like Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago. I keep referencing this game. That was a classic quarterback battle. Every time you knew they were going to drop back.
Yeah.
You knew they were going to throw 15 yards. This is 2021 playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't see that kind of game at all. Don't you see a much more grounded game here, a defense run game?
I I think that's going to be part of it, but that's always part of Lamar's game. I do think that, this Ravens offense, so you act like it's this, the 85 Bears just ground game. I mean, the explosive plays have been a big part of what this offense has done. And now I'm curious if they're going to be able to keep that up. Now, the explosive plays were not something that the Kansas City Chiefs have been particularly good at this year, but look what happened last week. All of a sudden, here comes MVS with 2 big catches in that game when he hasn't been able to do much. So I think at some point, sure, you can run, grind it out, whatever. At some point, these quarterbacks are going to have to make explosive plays to win the game. I do believe that is still going to be part of it.
Well, I mean, Baltimore's the number 1 rush offense in the league and the number 20th passing offense. I think there's clear logic to say that they want to control the game on the ground.
Okay, but they still have weapons now like Zay Flowers, like Odell. Mark Andrews was a full participant in practice. That's interesting. The emergence of Isaiah Likely. I mean, these have been the weapons that Lamar have been riding to these blowout wins.
I don't think. I think basically what happens is the run game just becomes so overwhelming that the entire defense has to move up, and then Lamar just hits them. But this is more 1 or 2 explosive plays. That is not the story of the game. 60-minute football game. This game's going to be won in the trenches on the ground.
So going back to the opportunity that's sitting here for Lamar Jackson, I think in terms of the person with the most at stake, maybe in this entire playoffs, Lamar has to be at the top of the list, because you say this all the time about the 2-time MVPs on the basketball side of things. If you're a 2-time MVP, but you haven't won a title, feels like it can water down those awards. Lamar obviously deserves these 2 MVPs, but for him not to get to a Super Bowl and be a 2-time MVP is something that would invite a lot of criticism.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. I think people would say, oh, we overrated what Lamar did this year if they don't win this game. That's just the way it works. And that being said, though, I do think that I think it's an unfair narrative because, again, football is the ultimate team game. And Lamar is he's a team player first. He'll do whatever the coaches say to win. It's not like he's never padded a stat in his life.
Right.
So I think that to view it as a one-on-one battle with Jackson and Mahomes is really not fair. And if Lamar loses this game, it's the Ravens lost the game. Lamar, don't just immediately assume, no matter what the result is, that Lamar Jackson lost this game. Because to me, it's like Josh Allen. I don't kill Josh Allen for losing to Mahomes. He just lost to the GOAT.
Plenty of people.
They should not. It's not fair.
Plenty of people have blamed Josh Allen for especially the loss last week.
How?
Well, I don't, but you tell me you heard that.
I didn't. I actually did not hear anybody criticizing Josh Allen. I heard people sticking up for Josh Allen saying, how can you criticize? Kurt Warner famously just went on this whole social media explosion saying anyone who criticizes Josh Allen doesn't know football.
Well, I think you actually did criticize him because
the
throw to the end zone that missed on Khalil Shakir, you said was not the right throw because, and I think this was maybe as close to a direct quote as I can give you, you know that Patrick Mahomes with a minute and a half would have come down and broken your heart anyway. I believe that was a direct quote
they
from
should have
you.
tried. Well, I put that on the whole team, though. They should have, philosophy-wise, been trying to run out that clock to the end. And they went halfway there, and then they started running these deeper routes. I don't put that all on Allen. Yes, Allen.
His decision-making inside of 2 minutes, people are destroying him for that. So I don't know how this is going to play out with Lamar, but it might not be like quote-unquote his fault. But to say this game is not going to be a referendum on him is a total lie.
It definitely will be, but it shouldn't be. If Lamar plays as well as Josh Allen did last week, and people are killing Lamar after this game, say they lose a close game, say Mahomes just gets red hot and is unstoppable, I can't kill Lamar if Patrick Mahomes has a perfect game. There's always a winner and a loser, and that doesn't mean, I'm sorry, Pete, that the loser is a quote-unquote loser. Lamar could have an unbelievable game, and the Ravens could lose. So are you going to rip him after that?
Wait a minute. I just was reminded about something. The loser hats arrived.
Nice.
EJ, do you want to grab them? They're in the office. They're in 2 separate boxes. Now, Perloff has already declared he is not ever wearing one of these hats.
We're going to change that.
He doesn't want to ever sit in the loser spotlight. He knows he doesn't want to do that. So for now, we're going to exempt Perloff from having to wear the loser hats. But they did arrive. They took long enough. Damn. I got 2 different types and 2 different styles. So we'll model them.
Your guys' idea of what
like.
a loser is so far off, though.
Well, we're not calling Lamar or Josh Allen a loser.
Pete thinks all 31 teams and every player on all those teams are losers because they didn't win the Super Bowl.
Well, did they win the Super Bowl?
Yes, technically they did not win the Super Bowl. So
they're losers.
So if your best friend runs a marathon and doesn't win the thing, do you call him a loser?
That's a different thing. He in terms of winning the marathon, he's a loser.
Is he a professional runner?
But he right.
If he's a professional runner and he doesn't come in first, he didn't win.
He's a loser.
Right.
Not you and me. I mean, I couldn't do that.
Right.
Not you.
Like my girlfriend ran a marathon. She's not a loser because she didn't finish first. No.
But that's a huge L for that.
That's a different thing.
No, the NFL season is a marathon.
That's like
the NFL season.
That's like when somebody does the Pro-Am golf. Like Tony Romo's out there golfing with Tiger Woods. If he falls behind Tiger Woods, he's a loser. No, that's totally different.
Just the fact that you guys are arguing back makes me realize how lame your argument that everybody in the NFL who doesn't win a Super Bowl, they're not. How many players? 50 guys on a roster for 31 teams. They're not 15,000 losers.
Okay,
I mean, that's just not the way you describe them.
You think they get excited because they got eliminated?
Let's flip it the other way. Do you remember when Giannis got eliminated in the first round last year? And they said, and the reporter asked, do you see the season as a failure? And he essentially said no. He said, you're always learning, and it's not a failure, and there's levels to this, and there's steps to this. How was that received?
Not well.
Not well, because it seems like when you're at that high level, like professional football, professional basketball, if you're not in it to win, what are we all doing here? Now, teams are in different statuses of like rebuilds and stuff like that. But if you have expectations and you fall short, you're a loser.
Okay, if the San Francisco beats Detroit on Sunday, I want all three of you to tweet out at the same time, the Detroit Lions are a bunch of losers.
I will.
A bunch of losers sounds pejorative.
Yeah.
But
the Detroit Lions are losers.
Jerry Goff.
But I think that's unfair because Pete's point is they are like all the other teams.
Yes.
So to say you're making us single out one example with no context and say, oh, well, of course somebody would agree with that. When you say the Lions are losers because everyone like the Lions didn't win a Super Bowl, that makes a lot more sense. You're just saying to just randomly say the Lions are losers after having never won a playoff game in 30 years.
Well, as I understand the loser hat, though, the loser hat means like kind of loser energy, right? So the Lions have Lions have none of that. If they lose the game, no one's going to point to them as losers. Everyone's going to be like, what a great season. The opposite of Giannis, because Giannis had the expectations to win it all. So that's what I'm sort of getting at. Like, not everybody who loses is a loser.
Okay, so maybe the Lions won't wear the loser hat.
Right. This all started because there was a denial that the Eagles were losers, which is insane because they had this epic collapse.
What do you mean? Like, yeah, I'm well aware that the Eagles did not win the Super Bowl. I was not denying that. I saw the Bucs lost. I wasn't like they won that game.
Right, but you were acting like, oh, what's the big deal? They sucked. So, of course, no.
Did you see their DBs? They had no prayer in a million years. I could have torched both those safeties.
I got to be honest. It hasn't gotten much better for the Eagles when you have a press conference with your head coach and the press asks him, what do you do? What would you say you do around here was the literal question, and his answer wasn't great.
Exactly.
Well, actually, I was thrilled. The less Sirianni does, the better for this team, and we all know that.
Okay, so
losers.
Let's move. We're going to move the Eagles conversation to the side. The question right now is it unforgivable for Lamar to lose this game? I mean, this is your moment here where you have the Chiefs, like, in your house, the Chiefs are an amazing team. Mahomes is incredible, but you have to take advantage of the opportunities when they come. I think that's part of the reason why it was so devastating for the Bills. How many times are you going to have Mahomes at your place? How many times are you going to be favored against Mahomes and taking advantage of this moment?
It's very true, but the fact that you're presuming that Lamar is going to come off badly if they lose already assumes the way the game's going to play out. There has to be a scenario where Lamar has a great game and they lose too, and it's not all on Lamar. We give way too much credit to the quarterback when they win and way too much blame when they lose. And I already worry in advance we're going to give way too much blame to Lamar Jackson because it feels like the storyline is written, and that's not fair.
Was it? They could win the game. The storyline's not written.
They are 4-point favorites. And I agree with everything you're saying. This is their opportunity. The Chiefs are down. They haven't figured out their wide receiving core. It's in Baltimore. There's this crazy stat about the team that has beaten the Bills. the last 4 years in the playoffs have gone on to lose their next game, which is wild.
Interesting.
So
I didn't know that.
there's just everything is pointing to this is the Ravens' chance. I agree with all that, but I just don't want to say like Lamar played badly if they lose.
Well, we're not sure. That's why we got to watch this.
But
thing.
it sounds like you are sure.
I think this game is going to be a referendum on Lamar. I mean,
I'm not saying you're sure. I think people are going to rip Lamar if they lose. So that means that's going to happen.
I don't know if rip is like the right way to put it. But I think that if he loses, who gets the criticism? Unless you have an all-time game, it's usually the head coach and the quarterback. Sometimes it's the kicker.
Yeah, but okay, I was critical of Josh Allen not checking down there, but Josh Allen had a pretty good game. Like that, if you're going to blame anybody, the Bills' defense couldn't stop Mahomes at all when it counted.
Well, that's for sure. On another note, got another poll question out there for you at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter. Again, our YouTube is back up, so we're up and running. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. We say good morning to our incredible CBS Sports Radio affiliates who we just love. The absolutely free to download Odyssey app is crystal clear. Sirius XM channel 158. Are the Chiefs annoying? Poll question at Maggie and Pearl. 61% of the audience says yes. They are.
Yeah. No, I'm aware. I'm going to defend my guy, Patrick Mahomes. He's pretty good.
Some of the replies here. I actually hated them before this year. Now I enjoy them. Okay. Most teams that are consistently at the top usually are annoying. And one person just says, hell no. So thank you for your contribution.
Why do people find all right, just keep it on Mahomes. How can you find Mahomes annoying? I'm curious because I'm hearing a lot of that out there in the ether as well.
I think this is relatively new. I don't think people generally thought or think that Mahomes is annoying because, he seems like a generally good guy. We don't know these people. It's a couple things. Probably the amount of commercials. Probably a little bit with the celebrity stuff. And then I think the whining and crying, he seemed like a bad loser after the Bills beat them in Kansas City with the bad Kadarius Toney call. Now, you and I are kind of sensitive to that stuff. We generally don't judge athletes, I don't think, in the moment in that way, but a lot of people thought that was bad. That was a bad look. At that time, you've got to just shake Josh Allen's hand and walk off the field. And then I didn't think Travis Kelce saying to Josh Allen, after they lose the divisional round to say, I can't even believe you guys got here, seems a little condescending. But I think he didn't mean it that way. He meant it as all these injuries on defense. You guys were 6-6 at one point.
I mean, you're totally right. Honestly, they should have just walked off the field after the Bills because, of course, they beat the Bills. I don't even think you need to say anything.
Thank you, Perloff.
I just think it's funny. Like
you bet on the Bills in that game.
You're a little mad. I know. First of all, the Bills probably should have won that game, too. I can't believe, if we're talking, I bet on them because I watched the Chiefs not be able to play offense all season long. Who are the Chiefs now? I don't understand how this turned around. Mahomes is the most likable superstar out there. He's the Steph, and I like Steph Curry, too, who other people find annoying.
But they got backlash.
But
Steph's got plenty of it.
They're nice people, and I don't know. I think we're inventing ways to dislike people.
I don't think so. I think sometimes you have control over how you're presented to the public, and sometimes you don't have control over how you're presented to the public. And it feels like superstars and the people around them have plenty of control on how they're presented to the public. And the fact that you would choose to present yourself in a way where it's like they just look so thirsty in the suite. Yeah. Everyone wants the camera. Taylor wants it. Brittany wants it. Jason Kelce wants it. I mean, they all want it. And we're going to give it to you anyway. You don't have to try this hard for our attention. We're going to get it anyway.
Well, I'm not talking
about Steph
that.
Curry, it's like, so Aisha wants a show, and then she wants another show. And I think it just gets a little like, oh, you're trying to inundate us with your brand when we would find you anyway. We're seeking you out anyway.
It's just like Perloff hating the green basketballs and the three-point shootout. Stop selling me something.
Well, whatever. I mean, look, who are the most hated athletes in the world today? LeBron James, just because you see him everywhere. I just think the bigger you get, the more you're hated. Everyone is annoyed with Mahomes. He's in 17,000 ads. Of course you're going to dislike. I just think I think it's a function of success. If Steph Curry didn't win 4 titles, then I think, of course, we resent success. I mean, it's the way it works. I mean, LeBron forget Mahomes and Steph Curry have nothing on LeBron. Everybody, there's so many people who can't stand LeBron.
It's fatigue.
Yeah, it's just we see them. I don't think it's how you present yourself. I think it's just a matter of being out there so much.
Jesus in the chat says fans are tired of Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. It's funny because we say that all this winning breeds contempt, but at the same time, we like dynasties. We like rivalries. We like when, say what you want about the Warriors, when they were playing the Cavs year after year after year, it was still great. People were tuning in. So,
it's funny.
The AFC Championship game between Mahomes and Josh Allen did 50 million people watch that game.
Oh,
that's not all Taylor.
You're right. People do tune in for the dynasties, and they'd like to hate the dynasties. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Lamar, because Lamar, for whatever reason, is not as exposed as Mahomes. We don't see him on TV as much.
There's quarterbacky. There's a lot of stuff out there with Lamar.
Really?
Yeah, it's not necessarily. Some of it doesn't run to his quote unquote personality, but a lot of dismissiveness of who he is and a talent as a quarterback that I think does lead to some contempt.
Oh, you think this goes back to the Bill Polian saying he's not a quarterback?
Yeah, no. Well, there was someone recently, and the whole quarterbacky thing was trending after they won because someone is saying, "I want my quarterbacks more quarterbacky." I mean, Lamar has his detractors, I would say. I don't think there's a lot. Maybe it's the Mahomes people or the Chiefs people, because it's very obvious why people don't like the Mahomes Chiefs stuff. But
I got to be honest, and maybe I think people are holding on to that Bill Polian, Lamar Jackson comment. I mean, we haven't moved past that yet. The guy's about to win his second MVP. I hear it. I've heard it at least 15 times in the last month. I'm like, that was 7 years ago. The guy's got 2 MVPs. We're still talking about one comment from a former GM?
No, but there are people saying stuff this year. Like, I think, does it all trace back to that? Sure.
I think it's a lot of straw man.
Comment was like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We've had several other things people talking about Lamar and whether he's actually an accurate quarterback. Like, he still deals with that.
I think he still does.
I think he deals. I think his backers bring it up 100 times more than his detractors. I think it's like the pro Lamar people are always saying, "Oh, look, he's not a running back." I don't hear a lot of nobody in the media is dumb enough to actually come out and say, "Oh, I still think Lamar's a running back," because it ruined Bill Polian's career to say that.
And it's also just not true.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 MVPs. I feel it's weird that people hold on to that so dearly. I'm sorry. I just think that storyline should have died. I mean, and you know what I'm saying, EJ? It shouldn't be a storyline at this point, right? In a perfect world.
It should not be, but I think maybe this is me being in the cesspool that is social media. I think maybe you could say media members aren't saying it, but I'd say that people aren't saying that about Lamar Jackson when he loses or when he has bad games. That is still happening, and that is where the defense of him comes in.
But if he throws 3 touchdowns, you're going to have 4,000 Lamar backers say, "See, he's not a running back." That is everybody holds on to that line so much, whatever.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You are welcome to go vote on our poll question. Are the Chiefs annoying? At Maggie and Pearl. Coming up, we had some coaching news yesterday. We're going to get all the latest for you in just moments. Maggie and Pearl off CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back here on Maggie and Perloff. We are getting so excited for these championship games. Couple big disagreements here. Maggie finds the Chiefs annoying. Just admit it.
I do.
They're
so thirsty. Why? You're too good to be this out here, this wanting our attention so badly.
This is Taylor Swift. It's not their fault that the biggest pop star in the world is in their box. Do you think that has anything to do with L'Jarius Sneed and Isaiah Pacheco and Rashee Rice? They don't care. What did they do?
No, they didn't do anything. It's just maybe they need a little bit clue Taylor in. It's not her fault if she's not a big football fan, but clue her in on the amount of success that the Chiefs have been having over the last 6 seasons. You don't have, not every touchdown is the Super Bowl. You don't have to hang right at the front of where the box is. The camera's going to find you. Someone should have.
So what does it have to do with the team? Why is that their problem?
The team is just because
Taylor Swift's a phony. That's nothing to do with the team.
No, just because they win a lot.
Do you think Andy Reid wants all this here?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to be in the State Farm commercial. Andy Reid wants a little of the glow.
No, he doesn't. I don't even know how they got him there. Andy Reid, I heard a quote about Taylor. He's like, yeah, I guess it's fine. He does not. There's no coach in the world who wants any distraction. You think Andy Reid cares about Taylor Swift? And I read that he begrudgingly did those commercials. Now he seems to like it. But no, Andy Reid doesn't want Taylor Swift glow. This is Andy Reid we're talking about.
Drew Walsh is in the chat. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio said, I turned on the Chiefs when they started acting like they deserve everything. Mahomes whines about everything. Pacheco celebrates a 2-yard run like it was a 98-yard touchdown. They aren't the underdog. I mean, listen, Pacheco is a 7th-round pick. Like, I'll let him,
That's a bridge too far. Isaiah Pacheco, he's another. You can't. He has to have 100 Q rating. Who would not like that guy?
No, and
he runs like Bam Bam from Flintstones. He's amazing.
I think, listen, we like to root for underdogs, and I think we like to, we like to see champions, and we like to see greatness, and then after we see a lot of greatness, we want to see who can take them down.
Let me ask you a question. Why do people not like Brock Purdy? I'm noticing a lot of that. There seems to be, and that seems like the nicest kid to play in the NFL in 30 years. What's wrong with Brock Purdy?
Okay, I think this is where people say that, and that's not what you mean. Because I've been accused of being a Brock Purdy hater, and I've never said I didn't like Brock Purdy. I never said I wasn't impressed by what Brock Purdy has done. I've never said he's not a great story or that he can't win big games. I think where it goes a bridge too far is when people are saying that he's the MVP when this type of 49ers team doesn't really lend itself to having one MVP. And if you were, it would probably be McCaffrey or maybe even Deebo or maybe even Trent Williams. So I get accused of being a Purdy hater, and I resent that because I'm not hating on him. I'm hating on how out of this whole team do you look at the 49ers and you say that's clearly the MVP of the league?
I understand exactly what you're saying, but I do think it's spilled over. Basically, people think he was born on third base with his team. Like, he's a good quarterback.
I don't think so.
No, because there's so much talent around him. Yeah.
Well,
so it's like he was handed the keys to this person. But I do think the public attitude has bled into, and not saying you. No, you've never said anything negative about Brock Purdy as a person at all. But I feel like there's a lot of, like, maybe it's my Twitter algorithm. Brock Purdy sucks out there. I think people are kind of mad that he's getting overrated because they're like, oh, man, I could go out there and give the ball to Christian McCaffrey 20 times. That's it. And it's a form of what you're saying, but I think people go so far to say, oh, Purdy is I think people are annoyed that he's overrated. I don't agree. I think he's doing more than people give him credit for. But I do think there's definitely an anti-Purdy sentiment that's even stronger than you.
Interesting. I think Purdy checks all the boxes of the things we like. I think he did play a lot in college, so he has some experience, so you're familiar with him and there. He was literally Mr. Irrelevant, so that immediately paints you as an underdog. He's come in. I mean, he replaced an incumbent in Jimmy Garoppolo who wasn't all that popular in San Francisco at the end anyway, I don't think. I don't think the fan base was up in arms when Jimmy G couldn't play because he had a penchant to turn the ball over in big spots. I think Brock seems pretty humble. He's living with a roommate in the Bay Area. I think he checks a lot of the boxes we like.
I think for some reason Brock Purdy's popularity is not taking off. I think there are a lot of football fans who find this whole situation slightly annoying.
No, I would say the Chiefs are definitely the more annoying. Okay.
I agree, but I don't think Purdy's popular like some other guys.
All right, our loser hats have arrived. Now, we're not exactly sure how we're going to use these two things. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv. The poop emoji hat. I just thought with the visual of this could be fun. We should probably just have this around anyway, just as a show.
Little 2016, but yeah, okay.
Okay, well, that's all right.
Kind of looks like a wizard, like the wizard hat that tells you what if you're in Gryffindor or Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Yep, nope, that's poop. Poop emoji. And then we also have just the trucker hat that just says loser on it. Now, here's a question. Who is ordering this besides like radio shows and stuff like that?
I like that hat.
You like this loser hat?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You would walk around with this trucker hat?
I would definitely wear that on the street.
It says loser.
Yeah. But it's like a comedic, ironic loser. Yes. Like Judah Freelander would wear that.
Oh, like the guy in 30 Rock, who I can't remember his name.
Judah Freelander. Yeah.
I think
that's his real name. That's probably where that hat came from.
See, I think ironic is if you wear one that just says winner on it.
That's probably pretty. They probably have those, honestly.
I'd actually rather wear the winner hat around, ironically, than the loser hat.
The way Pete's giggling, I feel like he wants to buy one right now.
Yes, I do.
Well, I already did it for you, so don't worry about it. You can borrow
he
this
needs his
one.
own, though.
I said I would not wear the loser hat because I'm like, it's not worth having the Instagram photo of me in a loser hat out there. But that's super cool. Actually, I would wear that all the time.
Okay, well, now we got 2.
All
right, there you go, Perloff. I mean, should I wear the poop emoji hat and we'll just see if they fit?
The poop emojis is good, but that doesn't exactly say loser. It just says
Bogus just lost a lot of respect for me. That's okay. We have a long way to go with each
Bogus,
other.
you could do the Vince McMahon story now?
Don't.
I am not.
No.
Thank God.
And now I got to throw the hat away. Thanks, Perloff. Now it can never be worn again.
Is it my turn? Oh, great.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, as you
us.
might have heard, there's a little bit of negativity around the show these days. Maggie hates Taylor Swift, Jason Kelsey, love, relationships, and happiness. Perloff hates Josh Allen and Wemby. Pete hates Zach Ertz. And EJ hates anyone who wants parents to behave better at youth basketball games.
I don't hate Zach Ertz.
So let me bring some positivity to the table.
I have fell in love with the Detroit Lions. I have a man crush on Dan Campbell. I know nothing about Dan Campbell, but I'm like, I want to play. I play football one day. I want to play for Dan Campbell.
See, it's okay to like things. It's okay to just enjoy the good stuff, guys, like Dan Campbell and the Lions. That was Chuck on a CNN show that he hosts called King Charles. That's new to me. But if he's going to love Dan Campbell on it, I'm here for it.
Doesn't Charles claim to know a ton about NFL? He bets NFL all the time. He's like, I don't know anything about Dan Campbell. Like, I would think at this point you're really familiar with Dan Campbell.
Also, no, by the way.
Wait, what do you mean?
You hate this
do
too?
not like this. Okay. Charles Barkley.
Yes.
What are you, Perloff here with the bandwagons? Now all of a sudden you're going to jump on the bandwagon at the championship game?
Put the hat back on.
This is
Maggie.
worse than Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz at least would be able to play in this game and impact the outcome. If you have, okay, because I rooted for a bad franchise for a long time, I absolutely hated it when the bandwagon got so big that everyone, all of a sudden, now I'm a huge Bills fan. Oh my God, I've loved the Bills forever. No, you haven't. Charles Barkley, you can't, if you didn't love the Lions at 0-16, you can't love the Lions when they're on the doorstep of the Super Bowl.
I'm handing you the loser hat. Put it on. Because if you're going to go after, first you go after Jason Kelsey. Now Charles Barkley. Who's next? Will Ferrell? What are you doing here, Maggie? These are the perfect citizens. You can't go after Barkley. He could do no wrong in my book. And what does he say? I like the Lions story. Why are you ripping this whole thing?
Okay. I know I'm an EP here, so I'm going to make an executive decision. I think this is where we have to do the loser spotlight. We have to do a vote. Pete, hit it.
Sometimes we can't help ending up on the short end of the stick.
I'm tired of being a loser.
But you know what they say, you can't win them all.
There are degrees of loser.
You can run from it, but you can't hide from it.
Right now, you are exhibiting the qualities of a loser franchise.
On the Maggie and Perloff Show, we don't tolerate loser energy.
I feel like you got to live in the loser spotlight for a day.
Time now to see who has to sit in the loser spotlight.
Head in, loser. We're going shopping.
Every group has someone that they all make fun of.
Thus, they are losers.
So, I think we need to vote.
Wait, Bogus just put his camera phone light on me, which just burned the retina out of my left eye. I'm not wearing the loser hat on this.
Wait. I don't even. What's your problem with this again? Take me back in.
Charles Barkley can't jump on the Lions bandwagon
Why not?
the day before the championship game. Because if you have one of these franchises that has actually been heartbreaking, where you haven't made it this far in 30 more years, you have all this negative energy around you, you can't just say, oh, now I'm a Lions fan when they're on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. If you really want to be a fan, you have to have lived through some of the hard times, some of the heartbreak. If you weren't with them at 0-16, you can't enjoy Lions now on the doorstep of going to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas.
Oh, who hurt you when you were young as a sports fan?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Scott
So
Norwood.
the way we had discussed the loser spotlight was it'd be a vote amongst everyone here.
Yes.
Whether or not Maggie has to wear the loser hat.
Guys.
So I got 1 Perloff, 1 Bogus, Pete, 3. I'm 4.
If I could raise my hand even higher,
Maggie.
I'm going to stand on the table.
Okay, you guys are going to go with Perloff, Mr. Bandwagon. You're going to follow him?
There's a big difference.
You just sit here and say, if you didn't root for the Lions when they were 0-16, you can't root for them now?
Exactly.
And there's a big difference. Charles Barkley's in the Hall of Fame.
And he covers the NBA.
He gets
has a
all
whole
the
other
bad
job.
take.
He's also not sitting there in a Jared Goff jersey, like with pom pom. He just says it's a cool story. I'm paying attention to it. Let him have his fun.
Wow.
You guys
Wow.
suck.
I enjoy watching Jameer Gibbs play. You can't do that because you weren't there when Marty Morningweg went 0-16. What are you
weren't there
talking
with
about?
Rod Marinelli. You can't be there for Dan
You
Campbell.
don't know who Scott Mitchell is. I don't want to hear anything about the Lions right now.
How long do I have to wear this stupid thing?
Until the Lions lose.
End of the hour. We're still working. Still
Regular
workshopping.
season.
Still working shopping that.
Let's workshop an actual spotlight. Turn the rest of the lights
Yeah.
off, and just there's one beam of light coming down on Maggie.
Like,
Get another bigger budget for this show.
like a Broadway show, and
Yeah.
I'm just in the
I also want a running list of incredibly likable people that Maggie is criticizing. Because Jason, starting with Jason Kelsey, and I know a lot of people are having trouble, but Jason Kelsey, Charles Barkley, that hurts. Are you going to go after Allen Iverson next? Like, I don't say anything. I don't say anything mean about Jim Kelly. I would never do that. Not on this show.
because he's not jumping on the Lions bandwagon.
Oh, first of all, how do we know Jim Kelly's not jumping on the Lions bandwagon?
Leave Jim
definitely
Kelly
would be.
alone. He's been through enough. If you want to watch, I'm wearing the loser trucker hat. That didn't take long. 855-212-4CBS is the number to call. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Me calling out bandwagon fans, like apparently Charles Barkley, does not make me a loser. But today it
Except
does.
it does.
Bogusch, what else?
Lions center Frank Ragnow yet to practice ahead of this NFC title game. The team listing ankle, toe, knee, and back issues for him. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews put in another full practice yesterday, keeping him in line to return from his leg injury on Sunday.
Why don't they just say what's working for Frank right now? He's got a couple fingers, I think, that work. Maybe
I would admire him for being tough, but I have no right to because I didn't root for the 2007 Lions.
If you weren't there for 0-16, you can't be there now.
I would think it's admirable, but I'm going to stay agnostic to this Frank Ragnow story because I have no right.
You weren't there when 2 Hall of Famers retired early because we stunk.
Exactly. Thank you, Pete. I didn't even think about that for my argument.
We've got 2 new NFL head coaches this morning. Bucs OC Dave Canales now in charge in Carolina, and the Falcons hire Raheem Morris on their second chance. He was their interim coach back in 2020, but hired Arthur Smith instead. Now Morris replaces him. He's been the Rams' D coordinator the last 3 seasons. The Celtics stormed through Miami last night, 143-110. Those the most points they've ever scored against the Heat and their biggest win head-to-head. Head coach Joe Mazzulla ready to party.
This game is really good, but it means nothing at all in the grand scheme of things if we don't take the lessons that we need to and apply it to the next game.
Sounds like Maggie. Jason Tatum's an all-star starter.
If you weren't there for Doc Rivers' 20-win season with the Celtics, you can't be there
You
now.
didn't see Havlicek stole the ball. Don't talk to me about Jason Tatum.
Yeah, he's an all-star starter alongside Joel Embiid, Giannis, Damian Lillard, and Tyrese Halliburton. The West 5 is Luka, Jokic, KD, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and LeBron. He is the first player to be picked for 20 All-Star games. He posted 25 points and 12 assists last night in the Lakers' 141-132 shootout with the Bulls. The Knicks hammered the Nuggets 122-84 for a 5th straight win, and the T-Wolves wasted a 17-point lead before winning in Brooklyn 96-94. Women's number 1, South Carolina, went to Baton Rouge, beat number 9 LSU 76-70, ending the Tigers' 29-game home winning streak. Novak Djokovic will not win an 11th Australian Open title just yet, losing in 4 sets to Yannick Sinner. Right now, Daniil Medvedev and Alexander Zverev in a 5th set. And this is big soccer news. Jurgen Klopp will step down as Liverpool manager after this season. In his 9 years, they've won a Champions League crown and a Premiership title. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. All right, so I'll wear the loser hat. See, this is the other part of it that bothers me, is Charles Barkley is out here praising Dan Campbell, which is totally fine. Felt like he was jumping on the Lions bandwagon. This is just an easy way for celebrities to get positive press because you start associating yourself with a feel-good story. Not that Barkley needs it.
Maggie, let it go. Relax.
How cynical can you be today, Maggie?
Put the poop hat on, too. Is there a double loser?
No, I can't because you guys ruined the poop hat forever because you had to bring real news into it. So now we can't even wear the poop hat.
I really
You're
like
such a loser.
I really like the way this guy plays. You have no right, sir. You have no right.
Loser.
It's not like Charles Barkley got a tattoo of a lion on his shoulder either. Just said one nice comment.
Like he's a GM.
If he's the GM, I would let it slide.
He's not going to be in a booth on Sunday getting hard hand signals.
He's not going to be posting with Eminem and Big Sean and Barry Sanders.
He's not Paul Rudd with the Chiefs all of a sudden. He just said, hey, I really admire the way this guy is playing.
No.
Shut up.
You know what? If you weren't there for the 3-13 season when Dan Campbell first took over, then you can't be here now.
Loser.
Oh, my God.
855-2124-CBS. All right, coming up, new coaches and new spots. Who is going to turn it around the fastest of these new hires? We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Here in
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You're not watching the show today. I am currently wearing the loser hat. New segment on the show. Apparently, I'm displaying the characteristics of a loser because I think Charles Barkley is jumping on the bandwagon of the Detroit Lions. All of a sudden, he's a Lions fan. Right before the conference championship game. Where were you for the 0-16 season?
Loser.
Were you shedding a tear when Barry Sanders retired early? I doubt it.
Just to give people perspective, Pete, can you play that clip again? Because it is one of the most harmless sound bites I've ever heard in my life. To actually criticize Charles Barkley for saying, I admire the way the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell play football. It was, it was a nice moment. I'm like, yes, let's go. This is shaping up to be a good championship game. And like Charles, like I admire the Lions too. I think we all related to that.
I thought he said I'm a Lions fan now. Did he not? We'll get that for you. Meanwhile, let's go to Michael, who's in Henderson, Nevada. Michael, how are you?
Good morning. Great show as always. I just want to remind you guys.
Yeah.
When you guys come out here, it's going to be 3 a.m, right? You know that, right?
We're aware of it.
Really?
Oh no. Sorry, we kid. Yes, we are aware. So we will be coming out to Vegas for the Super Bowl. Yes, and we'll be doing the show 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. local.
My plan is I'm going to be out drinking at the bars and then come and visit you guys at like 3 a.m.
Okay.
I'll be in my best behavior.
It doesn't sound like you're going to be able to promise us that.
Yeah,
Okay.
3 in the
I hope
morning is
I
not
do get
even.
to see you.
Michael, 3 in the morning is not even late in Vegas, though, is it?
Yeah, it's this place. On the weekends, it goes a little later, but during the week, like right now, it's kind of dead.
Okay.
I mean, you can find stuff like the Hooters is open 24 hours. There's definitely bars. All the bars are 24 hours. They're just slow,
Yes, Michael, thank you so much. And we'll look forward to it. Just be forewarned where we're going to be sitting. It might be a little hard to get to, but the sentiment is there. The Hooters is open 24 hours? Nobody told me that. Well, we've got our marching orders, gentlemen.
By the way, can we get Maggie all fired up again and play this very polarizing clip from Charles Barkley?
I have fell in love with the Detroit Lions. I have a man crush on Dan Campbell. I know nothing about Dan Campbell, but I'm like, I want to play. I play football one day. I want to play for Dan Campbell.
Oh, Charles, what gives you
That was the most
right?
benign clip, Maggie.
Guys,
He didn't even say I'm a Lions fan. He never even uttered those
All right, well, he
words.
basically said.
And he prefaced it by saying he doesn't even know what's going on.
Makes it even worse.
Right? No, but like it shows
Google
you
the guy.
It shows you his genuine support and genuine
Okay, guys, it's the easiest take of all time. You're jumping on the lovable underdog story to try to associate yourself with the underdog fun story.
He's Charles Barkley. Why does he have to associate himself with the Lions?
I don't know. Why are we playing the clip? Like, obviously, it makes news because it's boldface name Charles Barkley talking about boldface name in Dan Campbell. And I think this is this thing that people do where they jump on the bandwagon of these franchises that have been lovable losers for a long time. I'm rooted for a team like that, and I hated when the bandwagon got totally full with the Bills. It was so annoying to me. If you weren't there for Fred Jackson, you can't be there for James Cook.
I have fell in love with the Detroit Lions.
It's
Loser.
Yeah. Maggie booed when Villanova beat Georgetown in 85. She's like, I wasn't there in 79. Why can't I be there in 85? I mean, yeah, when U.S. hockey beat Russia, she's like, I don't know, a lot of bandwagon fans here. What are you talking about? You will admit Dan Campbell is quite appealing to watch. He's super fun.
Okay, but listen, Dan Campbell's been around for a while. The kneecaps thing was
Dan
3
Campbell.
years ago.
3 years, Dan Campbell has not exactly been.
He might as well be a rookie coach.
He's kind of on the younger side. His first playoffs.
I get it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm too close to it.
Maybe you're
Dan
a little
Campbell's been
too
out for-
negative.
No,
Maybe
I'm
you've
not
been
too
hurt
negative.
by the Bills,
Well, that's definitely true.
and you're still mad that they lost that game last week. Definitely true.
That has nothing to do with about Charles jumping on the Lions bandwagon. I've always thought that. That's why your bandwagonness is beyond infuriating.
Can I just say, huge Lions fan as well.
I know.
Big fan of the two quarterbacks in the AFC title game.
When we were
And I kind of like the Niners.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh my gosh.
Perloff will jump on bandwagons of teams that compete against him in his own division. Is nothing sacred anymore.
Let's go, Commanders.
Coming up, would you rather have Goff or Purdy on Sunday for the NFC Championship game? We get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1986. He left her off the ballot. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
AFC Championship Game being labeled as a heavyweight matchup between the two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But what about the NFC? You have the Detroit Lions. You have the San Francisco 49ers, Perloff. If I asked you, who would you rather have in this game? Which quarterback would you rather have in this game? Your answer is what?
Brock Purdy. As I recall, there is no dome in San Francisco, and this is an outdoor Jared Goff. I mean, the guy has been lucky to play the craziest indoor schedule of all time. Brock Purdy's going to have a better game than Jared Goff.
Okay, you can tell me that Brock Purdy's stat line is probably going to be better than Jared Goff's.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I think that the Lions secondary, that has clearly been the weakness of this defense. Their front has gotten after it, and Aiden Hutchinson has really been getting home and filling up the stats and sacks and everything in the last since basically December. However, I'd rather have Goff in this game, and here's why. It's in the Bay Area where he played college. So it's not like you are going into this crazy weather environment. He's not going to Green Bay to play this game. He's going to Santa Clara, a temperature and climate he is super familiar with, and a game where weather is not expected to be a factor. So
we got like around 50. Not ideal for Goff.
Okay, but again, he's played in conditions like this before.
But not well. He's never done well. It doesn't matter. Outdoor is outdoor for him. His stats go all the way down.
Okay, but again, he's played in this climate, even going back to college. He played well enough to become the number 1 overall pick in the NFL.
Yeah.
So in the NFL draft. So I don't know about the weather. I don't think that's going to be a bigger factor as people think. Here's my one issue. Goff's played in a lot of big games. I know Purdy has now too. But Goff has played in a lot of big games, including a Super Bowl before.
Yeah.
I think that if something happens, if you told me these quarterbacks are both going to throw bad pick sixes in the first quarter of the game, who is going to become more rattled by that? To me, I think it's Purdy, because I think we've seen that before at times with Purdy. I'm just really going back to maybe the Ravens game where he had the 4 interceptions, not all his fault. But if he makes a mistake early, is he going to be able to get back on track, especially because this is going to be a game where the 49ers are not going to be able to rely on the run as much as they have. You know, that is the bread and butter of the Detroit Lions defense, is they can stop the run. So if you can't have Christian McCaffrey getting you back on track after you make a mistake, I think that could be bad for Purdy. This has got to, quite frankly, be a Brock Purdy game. The middle of the field should be open. Deep passes should be open, air quotes open, NFL open. And I see this a lot with the 49ers. As soon as Purdy does anything shaky, they hand the ball off 4 times in a row. Yeah. And if that happens, I don't know if he can get it back on track. Whereas Goff, again, sacks will pile up on Goff. Mistakes could pile up on him too. But if he makes an early mistake, I don't think it's crippling.
Here's the problem with Goff. And I like Goff, but Goff needs a clean pocket, or the numbers dip terribly for him. Yeah. And I would assume San Francisco's defensive line has been disappointing. I'm not quite sure why. But if they get after it, you'd think they'd get after Goff a little bit. All you have to do is get a little pressure, and Goff's not going to be able to sit there and pick you apart. Purdy at least can run. Obviously, he's going to be running away from Aiden Hutchinson. I think Purdy's mobility, a little underrated.
Yep.
And the honest thing, he has shown that he can push the ball downfield. They're the number 1. I think that by every advanced analytic, they're the number 1 passing offense in the NFL. He's going to be able to pick apart those Lions. yes, it's hard to separate these two quarterbacks from their situation. I just see coming out of this game be like, ooh, this is such a great spot for Purdy. I think he could feast in this game because you're right. What's the thing that scares you most on San Francisco is Christian McCaffrey, so the Lions move everyone up. And I think Purdy is a little bit underrated in his downfield passing.
Okay, well, I think I'll take it a step further. Purdy has to have a good game here. I think he does because that's what the Lions give you. That's what they're going to be giving you, middle of the field and beyond that. Whereas on the flip side, if you said it, for some reason, the San Francisco defense has been susceptible to the run. I mean, the Aaron Jones was running all over him. Now, this hasn't been all season long. It's been kind of like a since a December thing that they've been a little more susceptible to the run. So if you have the combination of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, that is something that can get on track. And I think the Lions commit to the run game, even if they're down a score. They're not going to go away from it and start panicking and throwing the ball all over, even if they are trailing.
Absolutely. But if they are trailing, Purdy's going to pad those stats. Dan Campbell's going to be at his own 26-yard line going for it. Make it, and then Purdy gets a bunch of touchdowns.
That's true. That's the only way this is a blowout, by the way, right?
No. I mean, listen, if for some reason San Francisco's defense plays like the old San Francisco defense and they can't protect Jared Goff, that's the problem with Jared Goff is things got to be in pretty good shape for Jared Goff. And this is already, look at his numbers out. He did not play well when he went to Chicago. There's been there's a very small sample size outside, regardless of the weather. It's just, there's reason to think this is not going to be an A+ Jared Goff game, where there's a lot of reasons to think this could be a really big Brock Purdy game. So again, situation has a lot to play into this. And I think at home, this is a rebound. Also, Brock Purdy caught fire a little bit in the fourth quarter.
That's true. That last drive was amazing.
I think maybe a little confidence gets going, and we see the Purdy that we saw during most of the season, which was unbelievable.
If you're just joining us, we're talking about which quarterback would you want for the NFC Championship game, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff. Obviously, on the AFC side of things, these are two MVPs going at it in what you don't think that's going to be the storyline of the game. I do. I think Mahomes versus Lamar is going to be the storyline.
Wait. Before you say that, if you were a coach of either of those teams, what's your number one priority?
Keep the ball out of their hands.
And how do you do that?
Long, sustained drives on offense.
And how do you do that? Do you run the ball? So it's ironic. This is a quarterback battle where both coaches, the only thing they want to do is establish the run.
855-212-4CBS. Gary is in Jacksonville, wants to weigh in on the Championship Sunday. Hey, Gary, how are you?
Good morning, Maggie. Good morning, Andrew. I'd like to give my predictions, but first of all, Maggie, I'm right with you about the bandwagon fans.
Thank
you.
The
other one that drives me crazy, Maggie, the callers that call and say, I'm a fan of this team, and I'm also a fan of this team. No.
That's the Andrew Perloff effect, Gary.
Wait.
That drives me crazy.
Gary, who's your team?
Miami Dolphins. They always have been. They always will be. I'm an Orioles fan in baseball, and I'm a Magic fan of basketball.
Jeez.
I don't deviate, Maggie.
Thank
Good
you,
or bad,
Gary. It's
team.
people like you and me. We're salt of the earth people. We have a
Salt
team.
of
We
the
stick
earth.
with it.
Gary, what the heck do you do for sports entertainment?
Reliable.
Gary, what when you go at night, what are you turning on? You've had nothing but losers for 30 years.
I believe the Dolphins had a perfect season. What other team has done that, Andrew?
Yeah, that was 1972.
Yeah, but you get
That's
it. Grace
right,
period.
Gary, I think I could add to your happiness. Pick a second team, dude, especially in the NBA.
No, Gary, don't do it.
That's not what a true fan does, right, Maggie?
Thank
Stick
you.
with your team.
Thank you. Gary, I'm
Very
with
weak,
you.
Andrew. That's weak in the paint. You know, Andrew, if you went in the paint, that would be swatted away, okay?
But, dude, I feel so bad for you. The Orlando Magic, Miami Dolphins, and Baltimore Orioles? Come on.
Why?
Baltimore Orioles won games last year. What are you talking about?
It took 30 years for you to be good again. I have to admit, Gary, there is some argument to be made that
functions. If you don't have $100 billion to spend on the team, you got to build it through your farm system. Am I right, Maggie?
Listen, you had to sit through a lot of losing, Gary, but it's worked out almost in the same way. This could be the next Houston Astros if the Baltimore Orioles play this right.
Yeah, how do you like that, Andrew?
I'll give you credit.
Yankees. Who's your team, Andrew, in baseball?
Well, baseball, I'm pretty one team. I'm all about the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah.
No. Baseball, I'm
No, you always say how much you like the Dodgers, which
I
is
do like the
blasphemy because they're both in the National League.
NFL, I like players. So I can bounce around.
Some people
Guys,
like Gary and I get the magic of Adley Rushman, and some people don't.
I like the Niners by 10, and I like I like the Chiefs by 3. I think what it's going to come down to, Lamar's going to make the critical mistake, and that's going to be the difference in the game.
Gary, thank you so much. Thanks for weighing in. People like me and Gary, we have teams and we stick with it. People like Perloff and apparently Charles Barkley have all types of teams that they'll root for. They're just, just putting themselves out there for anybody. Adam is in Vancouver. Adam,
Good morning.
You think I should put the loser hat back on?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Maggie, but yes, I think you should. Barkley is just professing his love for Dan Campbell, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Adam, if you weren't there for 0-17, you can't jump on the Dan Campbell bandwagon now. Listen, if Barkley had said when Dan Campbell went, didn't he go 3-13 the first year with the Lions? And that was after the kneecaps thing. You can say, I love Dan Campbell after that. Did Barkley just discover Dan Campbell?
Apparently so.
How do you know? How do you know he didn't say that? Maybe he just didn't say it on a public forum. Maybe he loves the whole biting kneecaps thing. Maybe,
no, because he said I love Dan Campbell. I don't even know who he is, but I love him.
Hey, you never know. Maybe he did say that.
He's an NBA analyst. He doesn't have to weigh in on Dan Campbell after the 3-13.
Oh my gosh, we have Charles Barkley weighs in on literally every single. I feel like they're asking Charles Barkley about farm subsidies in Ukraine. But Adam, do you have a lot of You have a lot of teams. Then you're like Perloff. You're on the bandwagon.
No, not me particularly. It's the area where I live. I'm a big fan of the Vancouver Canucks, but the Vancouver Canucks fan base probably. Like Perloff will be all over this because they're all bandwagon fans. So, Perloff, if you want to move to Vancouver and jump on the bandwagon here, you'll fit right in.
Yeah.
But
I love Vancouver. I'm all about being a multi-team fan in Vancouver.
Well, we'll welcome you with open arms.
Well, I mean, you have one pro team, so of course you have to pick other teams. That's completely fair. Well, Maggie, I mean, you'll give him that, right?
Okay, but not hockey.
Well, There's also the Seattle Seahawks, which are in the area. I'm not a Seahawks fan. I can't stand them. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan.
Wow.
But
I don't think you get further away.
Good. As soon as they got good, I saw Russell Wilson jerseys popping up all over the place. People saying, I'm the biggest Seahawks fan ever. I want to see where's your Matt Hasselbeck jersey.
Wait,
where is
Adam,
your...
you're making my point. If you weren't there for Matt Hasselbeck, you can't be there for Russell Wilson.
Maggie, I get that. I am sort of making your point, but at the same time,
made it to a team.
No. At the same time, you got to take. You got to take the L with Charles Barkley.
No, Adam. Oh my gosh, Adam disagreeing with me. He eventually made my point. Because he doesn't like bandwagon Seahawk fans. If you weren't there for Matt Hasselbeck, you can't be there for Russell Wilson. That's what I'm saying.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is the hat off?
I have to wear it forever?
Yes. This
Anytime
is
someone calls
the whole
me out?
show. It should be the whole show.
I'm gay hat head.
Yeah. Sorry.
Adrian's in Maryland. Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Hey, Perloff, I guess we're back to normalcy because I'm going to disagree with you. With this Jared Goff thing, don't forget, he went into Green Bay last year, and they beat Green Bay, and it was below 0 last year. So I don't think weather's a problem. And then last week, we talk about weather. Didn't Purdy have a little problem in the weather last week? That was a big excuse for everybody for Purdy.
Purdy melts in the rain. That's fact, but it's not going to rain.
So Pine Needle's in the chat saying he's going to the game and it's supposed to be 73 and totally fine and no wind.
No, it's a high of 73. The game's at night, and it's going to cool off by game time, or it's later in the day.
And another thing, Purdy needs everything around him to go correctly.
Which it will.
If Deebo doesn't play, he's got a problem. If they shut down McCaffrey, then he has another problem. I don't think you could put it on Purdy's shoulders to win this game because he's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, but the same with Goff. Goff needs a run game and a clean pocket as well. What if Nick Bosa gets off and Jared Goff is taking hits?
Oh, it could be a long day for sure. But Adrian, I think they're going to have to rely on Purdy for those two reasons you said. If Deebo is limited and if they can't get the run game going with McCaffrey, it's going to have to be, Purdy to Ayuk, Purdy to Kittle, Purdy to Juwan Jennings. Like you're going to need it.
Well, we said that against Baltimore, right? And they took away McCaffrey, and look what happened. They put it on Purdy, and he's the one that made the big mistake, and that's how they lost. So I think that's what Detroit's going to do. reason I'm saying this is because I'm a Cowboys fan, and I can't stand the 49ers.
Adrian, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Thank you so much. Good point there about Goff going to Green Bay last year at the end of the season. That was an important one.
I mean, Goff's here's home road splits this year: 109.3 rating at home, 87.6 rating away. I don't know if that includes the last game, but I mean, the numbers are stark with Jared Goff indoor and outdoor. That's reality. I think you're right. The weather is working out. It could have been a lot worse. I don't disagree with Adrian. Brock Purdy's got a bigger weather problem, probably even Jared Goff. So Brock Purdy can't play in the rain, but he's very good at home. This is shaping up to be a big Purdy game. I feel confident in my guy.
Andrew Bogusch, you've come in for a second? Yes,
yeah,
sir?
I just had a question to go back to your anti-Charles Barkley argument. Did you know your husband from birth? Like, since he was his entire life, have you known him?
No, we met in New York City at a bar.
Right. So, like, you picked up a fancy ring.
I
bandwagoned your husband.
I bandwagoned my husband?
Yeah. I mean, if you weren't there for the gangly 13-year-old version of him that had no game, you can't be here for him now.
I'm just glad he wasn't there for my awkward phase.
Yeah.
We compared awkward phases.
You won.
Oh, boy.
Loser.
I was thinking about that when Adam called. Like, what if you're 10 years old? Are you a bandwagon fan? Like, you might not have been around for Matt Hasselbeck, so you can't say that you're off the Russell Wilson train.
Okay, well, I think what Adam's talking about, I saw a lot more Russell Wilson jerseys. I don't think he meant kids. I don't.
Well,
Andrew Bogusch's son, Jake, is now a big Josh Allen fan, wears the jersey. I didn't tell him if you weren't there for Scott Norwood, you can't be there.
Oh, it felt like you were speaking to him, actually, yeah.
I said, if you weren't alive for that, you can't be referencing it now to bury the Bills, to dunk on the Bills.
I forgot about that terrible take, too.
To dunk on the Bills. Hey, by the way, Pine Needle in the chat just pointing out here, the game is 6:30 Eastern time. It's at 3 o'clock in the 3:30.
No, I heard a long breakdown of this. It's peaking in the high 60s, and then by 5 o'clock in San Francisco, it's a desert climate.
Right.
The temperature's going to come down to the 50s.
Okay, but you still get 2.5 hours of the game. 2 hours of the game is going to be.
50s isn't cold.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock Purdy and Jared Goff are pretty light. It's not. Wow. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's not. No, it's definitely not a cold weather game, but it's not an indoor climate for Jared Goff. It's a little different.
Honestly,
Jared Goff.
If these quarterbacks can't play in 50-degree weather,
also,
we are really entering a soft phase of this league, which I don't believe we're in.
It's also the surface and the speed of the receivers, too. I think that people are talking about. Obviously,
you brought up
the
weather.
fast track in Detroit, I'm imagining is a pretty fast track, is not the same thing on grass. I mean, everybody.
You're pivoting your argument here.
Weather. I mean, like the argument is Jared Goff's great indoors when it's perfectly on that kind of turf. It's a little different outdoor on grass.
Yeah, I think Perloff's right about that. I don't know if the temperature is going to have much of an issue, but yeah, just playing outdoors is a totally different atmosphere than playing in a dome.
It is, but they're going to have no wind to deal with either. So, okay, the grass is going to be a bit different. But
well, I mean, honestly, you're going against the grain because this is the big narrative. Everyone's talking about Jared Goff's outdoor numbers. I just think Adrian's right, though. Brock Purdy makes me a little nervous, too. But that's why I count this against Goff, but Purdy's very comfortable at home. We need a bet. We need some sort of Purdy Goff bet. I guess we're doing our picks later.
Yeah, we've got picks to do.
I just feel like Purdy, if he doesn't get nervous here, is going to blow up that Detroit secondary.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, we've got coaching news. Bogusch has some headlines for us. He's going to get us up to speed on all the latest. And what I thought was one of the more shocking days that we've had in terms of NFL news. I mean, stunned. When I tell you I was on the floor, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free. Sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. So I don't know if this is a new thing, Maggie, but the NFL announced their finalists for the different awards. And there's one name that stood out to me. For the MVP finalists.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Let's play the music.
Oh.
You were saying?
Well, one name that stood out to me was Dak Prescott. If I told you before the season that Dak Prescott was going to be one of the 5 finalists for MVP, you would have said, oh, man, that's a pretty good storyline for Dak. Yet, I feel like Dak Prescott is the single most criticized quarterback in the NFL right now. Are we just completely underrating this guy? He's an MVP finalist. To me, this is an achievement. And I think we're forgetting how good Dak Prescott was this year.
No more Dak Prescott!
Yeah.
This is your Cowboy Quickie, by the way. I think this MVP, thank you. I think the MVP, and Dak's finished the MVP, actually adds more fuel for the critics' fire. And is actually kind of like backlashes on him a little bit because you got upset at home against the Green Bay Packers. You fell short of expectations again. I think if Dak is not an MVP candidate, you could go with your argument, which was we were overrating the Cowboys roster all along. But if Dak is an MVP candidate, if CeeDee Lamb is going to get paid like a number 1 receiver, if Micah Parsons is going to get paid like the highest defensive player in the league, and you do have all this talent, then I think it's fair to criticize them for coming up short. And I also think it's fair to criticize them for sticking with Mike McCarthy. So Dak being an MVP makes the loss to the Packers, I think, sting even more. Him being an MVP finalist, by the way, makes it sting even more.
So let me get this straight. You're saying that we should criticize Dak Prescott for being an MVP finalist.
No, I'm saying
I
was fair to have expectations on the Cowboys, and they fell short of them. It could have been a 12-win season, but that was a brutal loss at home, and everyone deserves criticism for that.
So there's a good chance, by the way, that Lamar Jackson comes up. He could easily be a disappointment in the playoffs.
Yep.
Same with Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey, the other MVP finalists. Are people going to kill them if they lose in the playoffs? So the same argument. Basically, there's a great chance that none of the MVP finalists are in the playoff in the Super Bowl. It could be Patrick Mahomes, who was not an MVP finalist, against Jared Goff, who's not an MVP finalist. So does that mean that all these players were disappointing?
No, I think if you make it to the conference championship game, and I think if you win 2 games in the playoffs, I think that you can solidly be in the MVP mix. And by the way, you will criticize Lamar if he doesn't make it to the Super Bowl because you criticize Giannis for having 2 MVPs before he won a title, and you criticize Jokic for having 2 MVPs before he had a title. There's no difference with Lamar if he doesn't win.
I disagree with you in the sense that I think these other finalists, if Lamar Jackson loses and Brock Purdy loses, both of those guys are going to be heavily criticized. And we're going to say, that what we saw in the regular season was a mirage. They're not as good as the MVP rankings. You know that's going to happen.
See, I never thought Purdy was an MVP candidate, so I don't think I would give you that. I think depends how it looks here.
Did you think Prescott was?
The thing that bothered me a little bit about Dak was the home road splits. To me, if you're really the MVP, I think there's a level of consistency that you have to have that the Cowboys just didn't have. So that would have been my criticism of Dak.
I mean, here's the thing. You have to pick 5 finalists. There's going to be no flawless candidates.
Of course.
So, I mean, Dak's numbers this year are crazy. And so are Brock Purdy's. So I can't criticize him being the finalist. Honestly,
I just wish it wasn't just a quarterback award.
I
That's the problem.
But Dak was awesome this year.
Yeah.
He really was.
Better at home, though. Much better
still,
at home.
I mean, he has some good games on the road, too. Honestly, I think, and I don't think that Dak had all these great targets to throw to either, like Brock Purdy. I think Dak was pretty accurate. I think Dak gets a little unfairly criticized. I understand the playoff stuff, but that's as much on CeeDee Lamb as Dak. I mean, honestly, I blame CeeDee Lamb more for that game. He was so tight in that game. So that his family's coming after Dak is ridiculous to me.
Well, okay, so let's pause on that for a second, because this could have been another Cowboy Quickie, but that's all right. Don't hit the music. This could have been another Cowboy Quickie where we brought you this story a couple days ago, which was, okay, maybe a couple days. But CeeDee Lamb and then Micah Parsons' family were both being critical of Dak Prescott. And it's interesting that Micah Parsons came out and said, my brother's comments are just my brother. That's him. It's not my. But nobody has come out on the CeeDee Lamb side, as far as I can tell, to say, no, we believe in Dak Prescott. And Jerry Jones, who would trip over 10 microphones on his way to the bathroom every day, all of a sudden has no comment or has not gotten to a microphone to say, we believe in Dak.
Yeah, but I mean, you never side with the wide receiver. All wide receivers complain about quarterbacks. That's what they do.
No, why didn't CeeDee Lamb come out and say, "Don't listen to my mom"? She's
I know.
saying Dak isn't it, but
Because
that's my mom just being my mom.
CeeDee Lamb is most likely a malcontent.
That's
I
kind of
think
a bridge.
generally, when the wide receiver is complaining, we just assume the wide receiver is a malcontent because that's what wide receivers are so dependent on the quarterback to get the ball. Usually,
He's about to get paid because Dak Prescott gets him the ball.
You know what other wide receiver was complaining about his quarterback? All of them, except for the guys who have Mahomes. I mean, Stephon Diggs always famously is unhappy with his quarterback. Who else? There was another.
It seems like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow get along pretty well.
But generally, Odell Beckham put together a video of Baker Mayfield's errant passes.
Yeah, then
this
and
is
then
the
left
common.
and won a Super Bowl.
This is
else.
a common thing. I really was. I'm not going to back CeeDee Lamb here. If CeeDee Lamb says that this fall, Dak Prescott threw the ball to him accurately 1 million times this year. Like CeeDee should not be complaining about Dak Prescott.
To be honest, if it was actually CeeDee Lamb saying it, I'd have a little more respect for that. This is CeeDee Lamb's mom saying it, and no one is coming out and being like, it's just my mom, guys. Like, even when Tom Brady's dad will go on a random radio show and be critical, he's always like, all right, that's insurance salesman Tom Sr. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, but also, I don't think CeeDee Lamb does a lot of interviews. Maybe I'm wrong.
Tweet.
Have you heard?
Quick tweet.
Have you heard anything from CeeDee Lamb this offseason?
No, but I mean, you got Instagram, you got all these social. It's not hard to get a message out these days if you're a professional athlete.
Micah Parsons speaks more than we do, and we host a radio show. Micah Parsons is out every day with his opinion on every single thing. That's who Micah Parsons is. I don't think. I'm not going to make a big deal out of this. And also, you know who the worst evaluator of talent is? Anyone's mom.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why aren't they coming out and saying my mom doesn't coach the team?
Maybe they think it doesn't need to be said. Maybe that's what's going on. Honestly, we all know like moms overrate their sons by definition. I hope they will.
My mom's already texted me twice to say how good the show is this morning.
My mom actually likes you more than she likes me. She's like that Maggie is, my mom's from upstate New York, just like you. She's Team Maggie.
We stick together. If you're just joining us on the stream, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. The reason why I'm wearing a trucker hat that says loser across the front is because there was a vote 4-1. I lost. That I was accusing Charles.
Who was the one?
I did not vote against myself.
Oh, wait, when you're actually up for a loser vote, you don't get a vote, Maggie.
Oh, sorry. So 4-0.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're absolved. You
right,
have to recuse yourself.
I'm dead. You don't have to twist the knife.
Just making sure we have the rules all put together. You have to recuse yourself if you are.
Bogus just said, nice try, loser, as I'm wearing the hat. I accused Charles Barkley of trying to jump on the Lions bandwagon. Because
I have fell in love with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Loser.
You weren't there for 0-16. You can't be there now. Bogish, apparently that makes me a loser. Good morning, Bogish.
Hey, guys. Kayshon Boutte allegedly loves sports gambling like Charles Barkley loves Dan Campbell, the Patriots wide receiver, arrested yesterday in Baton Rouge for allegedly placing nearly 9,000 illegal bets because he was underage. April 2022 through March of this past year, that's the timeline. 17 of those bets were on college football, 6 of them on LSU, while Boutte was still playing for the Tigers. I guess some of these bets might have also run into his time in the NFL. The league has not commented on the situation. The Patriots issuing the usual, we're aware of what's going on. We'll get back to y'all.
Wait, can someone better at math just quickly do this? So basically we're talking about a year's worth of bets?
Yeah.
So can we get 365 days broken down 8,000 bets? On average, how many bets was he making a day?
Yeah. Hold on.
Thank you.
He was just going off the practice field and then
that's
running to
carry the one.
That's 24 bets a day.
Is that a lot?
Feels like it.
Oh, yes.
Dude knew what he was doing.
Feels like a lot.
Apparently
got over 500,000 in winnings.
I saw a tweet yesterday that I'm assuming was real that some of the aliases he was using still had Kayshon Boutte in him.
Yeah, no, I know.
That part of it he didn't know he was doing.
Yeah.
But he sounds like a good gambler. He got from 130 invested into 500, then he kind of lost
He's
it.
a bad cheater. Good gambler, bad cheater.
If maybe he spent more of his time actually being a wide receiver, maybe he would have been drafted a little higher because he was supposed to be a superstar at LSU. And instead, we know he's been doing this the whole time.
When I saw that headline, I assumed he bet against himself because that dude dropped so many balls at LSU.
No, are we sure that he has? I mean,
They have his bets. So.
What was his alias? Was it like Bouchon, Katie? Like, how did he try to hide himself?
It was his name with like numbers in it and stuff like that. Like, it was not. He did not even attempt to have a different name. His like online, some of his gambling IDs were like
I am not Keishon Boutte.
420. I am not Keishon Boutte. 420.69.
I am not betting. 1.
I'm 21, definitely.
Overage better. 1, 2, 3, 4. Way to be stealth.
In actual football news, the Falcons don't hire Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel. They go instead with Raheem Morris, who was their interim coach back in 2020. This is the first time Arthur Blank has hired a former head coach to lead his team. Morris 17-31 in 3 seasons as the Bucs head coach. LeBron James, the first player ever selected for 20 NBA All-Star games. He'll be in the West starting 5 next month in Indy, alongside Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Nikola Jokic, Giannis, Dame, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid for the East. LeBron and the Lakers outscored the Bulls last night 141-132. The Nuggets took a 122-84 beating from the Knicks, and the Pacers cooled off the Sixers 134-122. Philly had won 6 in a row, and Steph Curry had a chance to be a hero again last night.
The stage is set for a buzzer-beating Warriors victory. Here's Steph Curry. 5 seconds to go. Hounded by 2 defenders. Chased. Ball knocked loose by Fox. It's all over. Fox grabs it. He doesn't even have to score. Time runs out. The Kings escape with a 134-133 victory.
That's Gary Gerald on Kings Radio.
Gary Gerald.
Curry's turnover giving Sacramento a 134-133 win in San Francisco. We did get a buzzer beater last night in the Pac-12.
10 seconds to play. 1 timeout remaining. Pope into the front court. Beavers could win it with a hoop. Pope goes left. Jordan a step back 3 for the win. Good! He hit it, and the Beavers win.
That's from Learfield, not Wood TV. The Oregon State Beavers with the 83-80 upset of 9th-ranked Arizona. The buzzer beater also giving Jordan Pope a career-high 31 points.
That's like more energetic than some championship calls that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Oregon State basketball, so it might as well be a championship, right?
Gary Payton.
And Obama's brother-in-law, right? That's the 2 things I got about them.
But honestly, I was like, wow, is it March?
Just about.
Getting close.
Yeah.
I feel like every hockey game is like that.
That's true.
Yeah, like you're right. These smaller schools go crazy.
Good for them.
Bree Hall had the go-ahead 3 with 1:14 left last night. Top-ranked South Carolina beat number 9 LSU for a 15th straight time. 76-70 in Baton Rouge. Angel Reese fouling out with 4 minutes left. Our good friend Stu Kovacs had his world rock this morning. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp will step down after this season. He says he is simply running out of energy after 9 campaigns.
Poor Stu.
Yannick Sinner.
I know. Stu's had a rough go.
Well, he'll just pick a new team. Stu is Stu is the king of bandwagoning.
Is he? No.
No.
Well,
Dude, that guy's stuck by the Raiders. He deserves credit.
So, but he's all sorts of spread out.
He's also a Lakers fan, though.
Yeah,
right.
No. Stu's not a bandwagon. He's a front runner. So he's Lakers, Raiders, Notre Dame, Yankees. Stu, that would get you killed in some areas of this country.
Blue blood everywhere.
But he's not a bandwagon, and he doesn't pick up other teams. He is very loyal to those teams.
So what's top of mind to me is that he switched hockey teams because his girlfriend is a Devils fan. So now all of a sudden he has Devils gear. He's a Devils fan. So my argument would be if you were not there for Scott Stevens, you can't be there for Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yannick Sinner, a 4-set upset of Novak Djokovic in the Aussie Open semifinals. Daniil Medvedev just rallied from 2 sets to love down to beat Alexander Zverev in the other semi. And Alabama golfer Nick Dunlap is indeed joining his football classmates in the transfer portal The 20-year-old is going pro after winning the American Express last weekend, the first amateur to win on the PGA Tour since 1991.
And they'll somehow blame Kalen DeBoer for that. See, look, Kalen DeBoer can't keep anybody. He can't even keep the golfers on campus.
On the hot seat.
And I still don't know if he gets the money or not. I don't think he
I don't think
does.
so. I was thinking about that a lot.
Yeah.
He should have turned pro before the tournament.
But those if you're any good at golf, you make so much money.
Right.
Because you get to wear the sponsorship, get $1 million in sponsorship off the bat.
And apparently one of the new things they did because of Live Golf is they now give you a stake when you are starting on the tour.
Oh, really?
Like X amount of dollars, and then you kind of work it off. So like you're not going into debt initially paying for hotels and travel. They give you a little kind of like a little starters.
But then you owe them.
Then you got to, so like they do take it back.
It's a loan.
Yes. But it's better than starting at negative $500,000.
Sure. What kind of interest rates do you think the Saudis are?
Yeah. Infinity.
And beyond.
Something tells me I would really want to read the fine print of that contract.
Well, this is PGA Tour money at the moment.
What's the difference? PGA Tour, Saudis, it's all the same thing?
Not yet all the way, I don't think.
Can I get a regular steak instead of like an actual money steak, like a porterhouse or
ribeye?
something? Yeah, I'll take that.
I think you meant like a steak for like the vampires. They killed them.
That'd be amazing if it was Pete in a negotiation with the Saudis. Yeah. He's like, we would like to give you a steak in Live Golf. And he's like, all right, make it a tomahawk.
Medium rare.
Medium rare. And a side of spinach.
Get those talks done quick.
Actually, are you a well-done steak guy?
I'm a medium.
All right.
What's wrong with that?
Snobbery around here. Oh, my God. Perloff and Bogusch just shamed me.
First of all, you guys got even too dad jokey for me, and that's saying something that last, like even you jumped in there, Maggie. But then, come on, you can't admit that you're a medium steak guy.
Wait.
You might as well put ketchup on that bad boy like Patrick Mahomes.
No, I like a medium. It could go either way, medium raw or medium well.
Okay.
I'm solid medium.
Wait, you said medium well?
No, medium. He said medium raw, but he meant rare.
You can do either way.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
What do you mean? So you're okay with medium rare, medium, or medium well? So what do you order when the guy says, "How would you like your steak?" Do you just throw your hands up in the air and say, "Surprise me"?
No, it depends upon the night. If I want a well done piece of meat or not.
Give me a medium well.
If I know the place.
I'm 2 martinis in. Give me the chicken.
I haven't chewed in a while, so I'm going to go medium well.
If I know the place, and have good seasoning, then maybe I'll take a little cooked a little more.
Seasoning is the meat.
It's a steak, dude.
I do love the Montreal steaks.
There's a lot to it.
It's not lemon pepper chicken. It's a steak.
Yeah, but there's certain ways you feel about having a steak one night. One night you'll have a little pig inside, and then there's another night you will just want it a little well done.
Listen, maybe Pete's palate is a little more sophisticated than you guys.
It is.
Summertime, he wants it medium rare. Yeah. Wintertime, he wants it medium.
He's a little tired. He goes medium rare. It's less of a challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I see it. I do.
All right. I secretly order medium. I just don't admit it on a national radio show.
You order medium.
Of course I order medium. Medium rare. I can't stand bloody steak.
The one thing
but
I
you
can't
admit
over
that because you sound like a wimp.
I always thought the medium well people were the people which I used to be. With those I used to give crap for that when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, you can't do medium well. But the people who order the medium rare hamburger, I don't get.
No.
Unless you're like a tartare, you're in France or something.
Wait,
medium rare hamburger?
Oh, no. I think it's medium well, my bad.
Yeah, no.
That's... Yeah.
You guys are ever at a barbecue and somebody's on the grill and you just know that you're going to get a raw hamburger.
Oh, the inside is just all the brains.
Charcoal. Overcooked
mush. Or overcooked hamburger. That's even worse.
At least you can condiment that up a little. You can dress it up. When it's raw or when it looks like brains in the middle, I can't.
Yeah, and you can just see like there's... Oh, you walk into the barbecue, you see, that patty is way too thick. He has no prayer to get this right.
I got no shame with that. You put it right back on the grill. No questions about it. If I get that, let's go. I put it right back on the grill.
Do you guys send food back if it's not cooked right? See, I'm a little nervous about it. You've worked in kitchens, Maggie. Give us some etiquette on that.
Yeah, you can do it. I mean, you're going to annoy everybody, but no one who I ever saw, like, no one's going to spit in your food or anything. I hope not. But this happened to me the other day. I ordered salad, said I want the dressing on the side. Instead, it came drenched in dressing. But I didn't want to send the salad back because it looked all beautiful and nice. And it's like, I just didn't want to wait. Everyone else was going to be eating. So I just sucked it up and did it. Because I'm a warrior hero that deserves all types of medals and honors.
So
I'm a loser.
I know this has been like a bit of a meme on social media, but am I everyone else where I'm kind of scared to like tell the waiter, hey, and then my girlfriend ends up being the person being like, hey, you got his order wrong. Like, she's like my Suge Knight. She's the enforcer.
Yeah.
I'm right with you, EJ. Like, if you and I get the wrong order, we're just going to sit there in silence, suffering.
Nope, I'm not. I will tell them that their order is wrong. But it also depends. You got to read the room. Read what is going on. If they're screwing up to begin with.
If they've got good seasonings, leave them alone. Yeah.
If they're screwing up to begin with from the start and you're like waiting around for them to come and get your order, then we have problems.
The one thing that bothers me, and I worked in restaurants, bartended, I was a waitress for a long, long time. I don't understand the people who don't write it down. Just write it down. Yeah. I'm not impressed if you don't write it down, and I'd rather you just get it correct.
Agreed.
What were you going to do with the dressing that was on the side? Weren't you going to eventually put it on the salad anyway?
No, I like to control it.
Okay.
Dip your fork in the dressing, then pick up the salad?
Listen, I'm a middle-aged woman, guys. What do you think I'm doing? You're lucky I didn't bring the salad dressing in my purse. Right? Am I middle-aged? I'm 40. That didn't sound right when I said it. Yeah. I don't want to be a middle-aged woman.
There's like a little Ziploc with your green goddess in there.
I've got my own Hidden Valley
I got
French.
my 1,000 islands in the bag.
Why you have a Just Salad container at Del Frisco's?
I'm never going to refer to myself as a middle-aged
I'll
woman
take
again.
a medium well-seasoned steak and a salad on the side, no dressing. I got my own. Welcome to the Maggie and Perloff dinner table.
The people who have this salad dressing and put it right in the middle of the table, too. We're not even trying to hide it. It's like, here I am, my Paul Newman's raspberry vinaigrette.
Or Peter Luger's, they drop off the steak and Pilati pulls out 3 different spices. I got to get the seasoning right.
Montreal, he wasn't?
All of a sudden, he's like Salt Bay.
There's like scales on the table. He's got to make sure everything weighs the right way. You know.
You want some Goya?
You know, I've changed my mind. I'm going to go. I said medium rare. I meant medium well.
Send this back. 855, thank you. 212-4CBS Bogish, thank you so much. A lot more to do. I mentioned I was shocked by something. We glossed it a little in that update. It deserves attention. It deserves our full, undivided attention. Something that happened yesterday, and we will not go quietly in the night. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We'll get back to the championship games in just a moment, but the coaching news that came down yesterday, 2 hirings made yesterday, Perloff. Dave Canales gets hired as the head coach of the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
He was the Tampa Bay Bucks offensive coordinator. And Raheem Morris gets hired as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. He had been an interim before and had been the head coach of the Bucks, and now he gets hired by the Falcons. Basically, what this is setting up is Bill Belichick will not be coaching next year. The only 2 spots that are open now are the Washington Commanders and the Seattle Seahawks. Commanders, sort of open secret that they really covet Ben Johnson.
Yeah, reportedly out on Belichick.
And Seattle Seahawks have interviewed everyone but Belichick.
Yeah. And you're not going from Pete Carroll to Belichick. That makes no sense.
That, and also Dan Quinn's getting second interviews, and like
Vrabel's out there.
Vrabel, right. So I think this is going to end up being one of the big, massive mistakes of this hiring cycle. The fact that no one is bringing in Bill Belichick. To not even bring him in for interviews, and maybe he was saying no to interviews, I'm not sure, but if you didn't bring him in for an interview, why wouldn't you want to at least pick the brain of perhaps the greatest coach in the history of the NFL? He sat up there at that press conference of the Patriots and said he would have given up team control. Now, maybe that became a bit of an issue in Atlanta, but why wouldn't you at least feel him out? Was he out there saying, I have to be the GM, I have to make every draft decision? I don't think so.
Oh, Yes, but everybody who's in that building in Atlanta or Carolina knows that if Bill Belichick comes in, that it's his way or the highway, and you're probably gone. So I think it's implied. Even if Bill Belichick says, I'll give up control, you know he's not going to give up control, right? He's going to go in there and be Bill Belichick. The other thing, you can't interview Bill Belichick and not be serious about hiring him. You don't bring in Bill, because then the headline comes out, interviewed Bill Belichick and did not hire him, and Atlanta's being criticized for that. So why would other teams want to take that on?
Well, I'd also want to hear what he has to say, wouldn't you?
But there's too much downside.
Why? Because you're worried how it's going to look?
Yeah.
No way. You have to be able to be a stronger organization than that. I mean, if you have an opportunity to, what if it ends up you go in there and it's a fit and you click, and maybe Bill Belichick has a third act of his career at your franchise?
Yeah, but Belichick doesn't meet the time frame of where the Falcons or the Panthers are. So I would not bring in Belichick. I would bring in a young coach and try and build a real contender.
This is such a mistake. 855-212-4CBS. Coming up, got a major question for you about the AFC.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
We get this incredible quarterback matchup in the AFC Championship Game. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So glad to have you on CBS Sports Radio. And to me, because the quarterbacks in the AFC Championship Game, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, it feels like the Super Bowl to me. It feels like the Super Bowl's happening in the AFC Championship Game. And that's not meant to disrespect the 49ers, who have been a winning organization and who have an incredible team. The Lions are clearly the best story of the postseason because of the drought they've been in when it comes to never winning a Super Bowl. But because of the heavyweight back and forth between Lamar and Mahomes, this feels like how we used to talk about Brady and Peyton Manning. You know, how we used to, even years later, talk about that all-time great rivalry. It's Mahomes against all the challengers in the AFC. Feels like the Super Bowl.
Why do you think there's going to be a back and forth with Lamar and Patrick Mahomes? We've never seen it. That just doesn't feel like that kind of game to me. You really think 2 minutes left, Lamar is going to go on a final drive versus Patrick's final drive? I'd be surprised if the game plays out that way. Maybe I'm being naive. I don't remember a game like that. That's not a typical Lamar Jackson game script. You know how Baltimore beats teams? They get a 14-point lead, and then maybe they let the other team do a backdoor cover. Like it doesn't feel like a mano-a-mano battle.
Well, I think we've never really seen a season like this from Lamar. I mean, this is a 3,500-yard passing season. There's been more of a commitment to the pass. Now, granted, from where they were starting from was a little bit different, but there's obviously more weapons that they have at their disposal on offense. I think they don't want to, this isn't all of a sudden going to become this crazy aerial attack, but that part of the game for Lamar and for the Ravens, that's why they made the whole change at offensive coordinator to begin with, and they've been blowing teams out this season.
Yeah, I don't see a radical difference. I mean, Lamar he does not want to throw the ball 40 times. That's just
it's not going to be like that, but it's not him running 25 times.
He's coming off a game where he just ran for 100 yards and threw for 150 yards. I mean, that's the formula, right?
The balance.
No, I'm just saying, like, that is hardly Patrick Mahomes. That's almost, and in the last half of the season, Lamar has gone back to running a lot. I think he saved his body, and now he just basically he keeps every play alive. I think he's going to sell out on the run here. I'd be surprised if he didn't have a big running game. I mean, right? I mean, everything's on the line here. He's going to do anything. I think Mahomes will run the ball a lot too. I do not see Lamar Jackson throwing it all over the place. Maybe I'm being naive here. I think that he controls the game on the ground.
It's funny, we're going to make our picks in a little bit, but the rushing prop for Lamar Jackson is like 57 yards.
It's up to, I think it's higher now. Is it only
I saw that yesterday because I thought I was going to maybe do that as one of my props. I'm like, this can't be. And I thought that was a little bit light. Meanwhile, I know the props have been moving all over the place, but that was part of it. I don't know how you look at this game. And even if you think that it's going to be Lamar using his legs, hell, Josh Allen uses legs. It was still about these two quarterbacks. And that's why, to me, it's not just about how it's physically going to look. You're talking about a game where you have two MVPs who are facing each other in a conference championship game where they've won their MVPs under the age of 30. That's never happened before. You have your fifth conference championship game featuring two former MVPs. You have defenses that are incredible in this game. Number one scoring defense for Baltimore. They were number one in sacks. Kansas City, number two scoring defense, number two in sacks. So you have this sort of very even sort of feel to the defenses, even if you think maybe the Ravens have the edge. And then you have the history on the line aspect of it. Now, granted, Detroit has tons of history on the line. They could go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl for the first time in the Super Bowl era. But don't we feel like the feel-good story of Detroit, it's already happening? Making it to the conference championship game is an incredible feat for the Lions. Yes, they have a lot on the line, but they've also accomplished a lot and have the playing with house money, so to speak. And the 49ers are incredible. They're consistently in the NFC Championship game. The history that Mahomes is dealing with now, I think we're starting to creep into rarefied air here. And that, to me, is another reason why this feels like a Super Bowl in the AFC.
I hear you. Can we talk about that Chiefs defense for a second and all those gaudy numbers? I mean, come on.
What?
They're in the same division with the Raiders and the Broncos and the Easton Stick-led Chargers. I mean, I think those numbers are inflated. Baltimore's defense shut down the best teams around the league.
Yeah.
Kansas City had a lot of backup quarterbacks. They had a game against New England.
Oh, so you think there's a big gap between 1 and 2 here?
I think that Kansas City's numbers are inflated because they didn't see any quarterbacks. And the fact that also their offense wasn't doing anything all year. I think normal circumstances, they're move the ball much faster on offense. I think that everything fell perfectly for their defense this year. I don't think they're elite like Baltimore's defense. I think Baltimore's defense is elite in another way. Maybe, I understand Patrick Mahomes, but you saw that Texans game. That is a defense that is swarming to the ball. That is a pass rush that will not be slowed down. And their cornerbacks, even without Marlon Humphrey, they blanket guys. I feel like they're two different classes. I understand your numbers. You just point that out.
Yeah.
But I think Baltimore has just looked, I'm just using the eye test here, way more ferocious than the Chiefs this year. I think all those blowouts over the Niners, over the Lions, what they did in the wild card round, feels like the Chiefs are just a different caliber so far. If it wasn't Mahomes, I would say Ravens by 20.
Let's hear from Lamar Jackson, shall we? Lamar saying they can't shy away from the challenge of facing the Chiefs.
We can't overshadow what's in front of us right now. Not at all. Those guys are the former Super Bowl champions. And to be a champion, you got to go through a champion, so that's pretty much the mindset.
That is from Lamar. Let's hear from John Harbaugh. Says the Chiefs, with their 6 straight AFC championships, they can lean on that experience.
They've been in this situation, many times, and they played in this game. So I think they're a very experienced team. They're a hardened team. They've been through a lot, and I'm sure that experience always is helpful.
And John Harbaugh, more from him, saying he's playing against a mentor in Andy Reid.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I look back to those years, and you think about all the great coaches that were on that staff, the staff that Andy assembled and mentored, as you said, and taught us all so much. We were a close group of guys, kind of a staff that loved each other. I see a lot of that on this staff too, and
there you go. So a lot of connections, a lot on the line in this game. Not saying that San Francisco and the Lions don't. They definitely do. But there's something about this because the MVPs and the quarterbacks are playing this game. We really define the history of the NFL, for better or for worse. A lot of it is defined through quarterback play and coaches.
Yeah, I just think that there's going to be a lot of lore. If the Niners get there, then there's going to be a lot of lore with the Chiefs or the Ravens versus the Niners. There's obviously history. And if the Lions get there, that is just such a massive story. That'll be just huge, the ultimate underdog. So I think the Super Bowl is going to feel more like the Super Bowl than this game.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I'm saying I think the AFC Championship game feels like the de facto Super Bowl. Not because the game's going to be bad, but, I think we talk, again, I'll go back to the Brady era. We talk more about Brady versus Manning, maybe Brady versus Roethlisberger, and Brady versus Ray Lewis, if you will, with the Baltimore, more than we talk about, I guess, Brady versus Eli Manning, because that was so unique, but Brady versus Nick Foles, Brady versus Jake Delhomme, Brady versus these other guys he faced. That's never the story, really, of Brady.
Yeah, but I mean, I was like, what was the famous championship? It was 20-3 against Peyton Manning. I mean, that wasn't even a contest in those key years.
No, but others were close. 20-18 was a 23-21.
I just don't think those were great aesthetic matchups between Brady and Manning.
But they were legacy defining in a lot of ways.
Really?
Well,
I don't even. It's funny. I don't think of it that way. I mean, look at where Peyton won his second Super Bowl. It was against the Carolina Panthers because the Panthers had Mike Remmer as a right tackle. Like, he barely even did anything that Super Bowl. I don't see it
that's
as simple.
why I think the AFC Championship Game, the road to get there at times is more memorable than the Super Bowls. Listen, Brady's got so many of both.
Yeah.
That even the Super Bowls are memorable. The comeback against the Falcons, obviously. Malcolm Butler at the goal line. But, like, the real rivalry was defined in the conference.
Who did the Chiefs beat last year? The Bengals? I mean, that should have been a big game, too. But I think the Super Bowl felt like a much bigger game than that one.
Oh, not Burrowhead Stadium? The mayors calling each other out?
Jabroni.
I mean, Allen and Mahomes just played a game that was watched by 50 million people. Is most of any divisional round game of all time.
Yeah, I feel like the Eagles Chiefs, just because of the way, maybe because the game was such an all-time classic. The Chiefs Bengals was also a good game, but it was a little more defensive oriented. Honestly, I understand what you're saying. The AFC in many years feels like the better matchup, but nobody really remembers those games. Everyone's going to remember the Super Bowl, and this is shaping out to be an amazing Super Bowl because what's the spread with the Ravens? The Niners is going to be a pick 'em, and I think the Niners will be favored by 3 over the Chiefs. This is going to be, if the Niners get by, it's going to be an all-timer. It's going to be so hard to predict.
I don't know why that would be a pick-em, though. We just saw the Ravens not long ago go into San Francisco and beat them by 3 touchdowns.
That's because Brock Purdy drove right down on the first drive and threw the ball into a Ravens defender in the end zone. They outgained him by 100 yards. Everyone knows the second game is way different than the first game. You're right. It is a little odd. I admit that. And right now, you can bet Niners -1.5 on that game. I would jump on that line. It's going to change.
EJ, can we update some poll results around here, please? If you're tuning into the live stream, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, I am wearing a loser trucker hat today. I'm in the loser spotlight because I am calling out bandwagon fans like Charles Barkley, who all of a sudden has all this praise to heap all over the Detroit Lions. Where were you when Dan Campbell went 3-13 the first year? But now all of a sudden you're an hour away from the Super Bowl, and now all of a sudden you're a big fan. And I got accused of being a loser for that, so I'll wear the loser hat.
I have a man crush on Dan Campbell.
He was too busy getting his LeBron GOAT takes together to be worried about Dan Campbell losing 13 games.
Barkley's a big LeBron GOAT guy?
No, I meant GOAT against or whatever. Either side.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Barkley's got an opinion on everything, so the man is busy.
Yeah, exactly.
We ask him literally about everything. We have a poll question up about the Chiefs.
Yes.
We asked, are the Chiefs annoying? What are the results?
So, right now we have 62.9% say yes, the Chiefs are annoying. 37.1% say no.
Over almost, you just round it up, 64%?
63.
63%.
How is Taylor Swift so popular if she's annoying?
I don't think it's all about Swift. And also, you can find people annoying who are famous.
I understand.
I don't think her fans think she's annoying.
Yeah, the Swifties love her.
Yeah, I feel like this has been a lot of exposure for Taylor Swift to new people, and I don't think people are loving what they're seeing.
I think she's just part of the equation here. I think there's an annoying part of the Chiefs because they're just so dang good. So that's where you're like, oh, that's so annoying. They can't be beat. It's like it's impossible for anyone else to penetrate this team, except for the Bengals and maybe the Patriots at one time. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. They're just so good. And then they're just the celebrity aspect of this is so overexposed, and they're begging for it. Like Taylor Swift, why are you keep sitting in the front row doing the swag surf? Like, you don't have to be up front. Jason Kelce, why are you without a shirt, drinking 40 beers, jumping in and out of the suite? You don't get enough camera time. You don't get enough airtime. They just seem like they want our attention so bad.
I think you're hitting on it, Maggie. The Chiefs aren't cool. They're not.
Well, Taylor
Swift's not cool.
I think the world started to discover when she was recording star and all that, there's a little bit of mystery about her, but now the mystery's gone. Everybody's like, wow, this woman's a total nerd.
Wait, but how does that make sense? If she's not cool, then why did her tour do record-breaking numbers?
People like corny stuff.
Also, a lot of,
I mean, that's like
We
real.
do?
Like, yeah.
my 10-year-old daughter went. There's a huge, 12-year-olds don't like cool things. You know, teenagers. I'm not sure there were a lot of 17-year-old hipsters who had to go to the Taylor Swift concert.
That was everyone from your 10-year-old daughter to Aaron Rodgers.
But no,
they got everybody going to that Taylor
tour. A lot
tour.
of kids, a lot of young girls.
Okay, but also a lot of adults.
Yeah, there were a lot of adults, but I think the real driving force, and I took them to the movie too. There's a lot of 10-year-old girls who are at the Taylor Swift stuff.
To me, cool is counterculture. And Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes, maybe you can make a case Travis Kelce kind of was before Taylor, but like none of them are counterculture. They're all very much mainstream. And mainstream by design is usually not cool. It's something that once was cool that now no longer is.
I mean, you hear Taylor Swift in her songs be like, oh, you left me for some cooler indie singer. Like she always talks about, she clearly has a major inferiority complex to Lana Del Rey and all those people. She knows she's not cool, right? I mean, that's very evident.
I think her brand is corny.
Yeah,
I think,
it sells well.
Right, and it's great. And it's great, and she's great. My girlfriend loves her. Like, you know, like she does great numbers, obviously. But when we say why is there dislike, I think it's because of that.
My 13-year-old abhors her. She says she dresses like a mom and her songs suck.
I know, but your 13-year-old is growing up in the middle of New York City. She gets like a lot. I don't know. She is exposed to a lot of things.
She likes counterculture. Like and I think that's a general thing. Like probably when the Beatles were super popular, there was probably a bunch of angry teenagers like, I'm not going to like them. They're too cool. I mean, the most, right, like who are the most popular acts? Katy Perry, Taylor Swift. They're not cool necessarily.
See, to me, it's not actually about the music. I think people do respect her music, respect her as an artist, respect her as an entertainer, the hustle, the grind. I think she gets a lot of praise for that kind of stuff. Where I think it becomes annoying is it just feels really overexposed now with the football stuff. And like you could have Giselle there with Tom Brady. We've had celebrity girlfriends and wives before. It just feels like this one feels particularly thirsty. I never felt like Giselle was finding the camera. I thought the camera found her. I feel like Taylor and Jason Kelce are finding the camera.
Well, her brand is who she dates. Like that's a lot of her brand.
And she writes songs about it. Yeah,
it's who her exes are. Like she sings about it in her songs. It's what her fans care about the most.
Yeah.
So when you say that, we see why that thirst exists. It's because of that. That like Giselle's brand isn't who she dates. Giselle's brand is being a model and a businesswoman. But like Taylor, this is how she sells her business.
Right, being in a relationship.
Right. Or having an ex relationship and talking about it.
Just a general rule. You cannot be super, super popular music and still be a critical darling. Like the two are the exact, by definition, popularity. Like you can't, critics are always.
There's been a couple people who have crossed that over.
But generally.
The all-time greats, Michael Jackson, Prince.
That's what I was thinking. There are very few, though. I don't think there are a lot of people like that.
I mean, yes, but I mean, I think if you like the people who wrote for Rolling Stone magazine probably said, oh, like, Beat It and all these songs are kind of corny pop. I think that's generally like pop music by definition is a bit corny, I think.
See, I think there are people who transcend that. I said Michael Jackson, Prince, I would say like Beck, Radiohead, Madonna. I don't know. There's a lot I think that are pop and also critical acclaim.
Yeah, I think to be really like Taylor Swift level, you have to appeal to a huge mass of people and you can't be too cutting edge.
What about Jay-Z?
Yeah, to me he's someone that maybe crossed that. But like I wouldn't put Jay-Z in the same category of Jay-Z's he's a different breed. But like to me, like NWA was as cool as it got. That's like
they were counterculture.
In your face, cutting edge counterculture.
Right.
Jay-Z is very corporate.
Right.
Even if you love him. And he's one of the coolest guys in the world.
Probably when NWA came out, probably the number one song that year was Rick Astley or something.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like the popular songs are, sorry, Bellotti got your attention. Like, more lighter fare often becomes the number one song. That's bubblegum pop.
Listen, for whatever reason, whether you're diving into it like we are or you're just casually voting on our poll, 63% of people believe the Chiefs are annoying. On our poll, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. What do you think? We want to hear from you. Also, we're going to make some picks coming up in just a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
this football music?
Yes, it is.
That actual NFL Films music?
Yes, it is.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. That is the kind of mood we are in. We are ready for championship weekend. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a snow game, and it might not look great, but I'm thinking slow-mo, Raiders, Dolphins, 70s football, tough guys. But I got to tell you, I'm super nervous about my picks for this one. Don't you feel like...
Tough guys, but I'm a little nervous about my picks.
We look at the spreads of this game. If I was going to set a spread for both of these games, I would say Baltimore -4 and San Francisco -7.5. This is going to be very, very hard weekend to predict. What aspect of the game... I'm sorry, I'm not sure what we're supposed to do here, but what aspect of the game are you most looking forward to here as you go into this championship weekend?
The quarterback battle for the AFC for me is everything. I don't know how the game's going to play out, but this is special stuff. I get it, and I don't have, when Mahomes plays Allen, there's always a little extra on it because I've been this diehard Bills fan my whole life, and this one I can just appreciate. And I think we all should because it's rare, and that whole line from The Office, how do you know you wish you knew you were in the good old days while you were in the good old days? These are the types of things, we got to pay attention to this because you get two MVPs going at it. This is the cool stuff we get in the NFL. And then for the NFC side, I'm just so interested in whether or not the Lions can actually pull off this story. And I'm so interested in Brock Purdy. I thought Brock was so good on that final drive against the Green Bay Packers in the driving rain that he really shut up a lot of people like me who had been critical of whether or not he's the MVP. Can he come out and have this all-time great game? Because that middle of the field and deep shots are going to be open for him.
Love it. I totally agree. But the one thing, I don't see this as Lamar versus Mahomes at all. This is Steve Spagnuolo versus Lamar Jackson. Just tell me, if you're the Chiefs, you can't rush Lamar because if you run by him, he gets by you. Do you spy him? Do you blitz? What do you do? To me, that is a number one battle of this entire game because you saw last week, Lamar, if he gets that lane, he's gone. So to me, that is the number one battle. I still don't see the Mahomes versus Lamar thing. First of all, is this the first time they played in the playoffs? Obviously. Every year we have it. Last year it was Hurts versus Mahomes, and this year it's Lamar versus Mahomes, and next year it'll be Mahomes versus Burrow. The one constant is Mahomes. I just don't see this as a rivalry. I can't put my head around it yet. Obviously, because it hasn't even started yet. Why am I not getting this?
I can't make you see it. If you're not seeing the magic here, I don't know what I can do for you.
Mahomes is going to be the constant. The interesting part of this game is Lamar Jackson finally taking himself to the next level. This feels like a Lamar coronation year to me. It doesn't feel like it's a Lamar versus Mahomes thing. He's the story. Mahomes is the constant to me. The whole game hinges on how they cover this guy.
There's going to be another. You're right about that. I agree with you. I think this is a moment for Lamar to really step into, quite frankly, just a different weight class. The MVPs are one thing. The whole, can you get to the Super Bowl is a totally different, and do it through the Chiefs. I think we are underestimating, and now I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit, but another Mahomes win, another Mahomes Super Bowl appearance, and if he wins another one and gets 3 in 5 years, he's on the Brady track. And he's younger than Brady. He will be younger than Brady when Brady got his third. And you have Andy Reid. What would slow them down? Travis Kelce retire? Tyreek Hill they traded him away and they won a Super Bowl the next year. I don't think the pieces around, not to denigrate Kelce.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's that's the big hindrance. And now we're talking about Mahomes nipping at Brady's heels. We're on a different level now.
Well, a couple things. Andy Reid could retire. But also the way Brady did it, he had 2 gigantic runs, one 10 years after the. So Patrick Mahomes could win his third this year. Is he gonna have another run 10 years? Is he gonna be winning Super Bowls 10, 12 years from now? His style is a lot more physical than Brady. He was limping around last year's Super Bowl. He was injured the year that they lost to the Bucs. He was injured in that playoffs. I don't know. Do you really feel like he's going to play to 45? It doesn't strike me as that kind of quarterback.
Well, if he's on this pace, he might not need to. That's the thing. If he keeps going, he might not have the 9-year break in the middle that Brady had where he went to 2 Super Bowls but didn't win them. Maybe this is a different level of stuff. And again, he's got to win this game and he's got to get there. But now we're starting to talk about him with Brady, which I didn't think we were going to get so soon.
Yeah, I mean, even next year, I was looking at Jim Harbaugh taking the Chargers. I'm like, the Chiefs are clearly going to fade next year. Travis Kelce's going to go away. They are a one-man defense with Chris Jones. Are they going to pay him? It feels like they're having trouble. They don't feel dominant to me. I don't feel like they're about to go on a 5-year run. I feel like it could go the opposite way.
Well, the other part is the AFC West just got a new coach in their mix with Jim Harbaugh. So Sean Payton last year going to Denver, Jim Harbaugh this year, Antonio Pierce gets the top job. So maybe things would get a little more difficult in the AFC West. And speaking of that, coaches who've gotten hired, Perloff, let's leave Jim Harbaugh to the side because he's already accomplished quite a bit in the NFL as a coach, going to the Super Bowl. But if I gave you Dave Canales, who just got hired by the Panthers, if I gave you Antonio Pierce getting the top job in Vegas, if I gave you Gerard Mayo with the Patriots, and I gave you Raheem Morris with the Falcons, of those new-ish coaches, who do you think has the best shot to turn things around the fastest?
I actually am going to go against the grain with Gerard Mayo here. As bad as the Patriots were, they get to draft a quarterback. They're number 3. Mock drafts have them taking either our guy Drake May or Jaden Daniels. So you get a quarterback immediately on a rookie deal, and they're going to burn money, according to Gerard Mayo. And
He's
also
out there talking about free
so
agency.
at least of all 4 of these teams, the one unit that's probably best amongst all of them is the Patriots defense. And you know that's going to have continuity. So you have a good defense and a young offense. And listen, Miami, Jets, Bills, are those teams heading in the right direction? I think the Patriots are going to be back under this guy. I know it's hard to follow legend, but I'm on Team Gerard Mayo.
Wow. Mine, if I'm talking about new coaches who are getting, who are stepping into new spots, who has the chance to turn it around the quickest? Let's leave Jim Harbaugh out of this for a second. Mine's going to be Raheem Morris. He's already been a head coach in the league, so he has experience, and he was an interim coach with the Falcons where he coached them for 11 games after Dan Quinn got fired. So not only does he know what it's like to be in the big chair, he knows all the quirks and the eccentricities of this particular outfit, of this particular team. Clearly can get along with Rich McKay, who's the president of the team, essentially.
Right.
I think there's the least amount of implode potential here because he knows exactly what he's walking into. Brian Callahan with the Tennessee Titans, does he know exactly what he's walking into? I don't know. Does, Antonio Pierce, once you really get going with Mark Davis, what is this really like?
Yeah.
There's an implode factor that I think exists with some of these other hires, let alone Dave Tepper.
Well, I know. Obviously neither of us go in the Panthers where they are right now. But why
the
would
other
you?
part too. Sorry, one more thing
Yeah.
about why I think Raheem Morris is going to turn around. It looks like he's going to bring Zach Robinson, the quarterback coach and passing game coordinator from the Rams. Everyone wants this McVay offense. Raheem Morris was the defense coordinator with the Rams. He's now going to bring a McVay acolyte with him for whatever quarterback they end up getting.
Why would you want continuity with the Atlanta Falcons? I've looked at their numbers here. They've won 7 games in 5 of their last 6 seasons. That's an incredible continuity. What makes you think that they're not going to be the same Atlanta Falcons that we've gotten known, where they're just going to be fighting at 7-10, 8-9, 9-8? Well, I just don't see the upside. I know they keep on drafting skill position players very high, but that's never panned out. Nothing they've done has panned out since the Matt Ryan, Kyle Shanahan days. I don't see how they get out of this rut with a hire like that. They need to, if anything, they needed to rip the Band-Aid and start all over again.
Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. Dave's in Arkansas, wants to talk about the coaching matchup we're going to see this weekend. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Yeah, hey, good morning, Maggie and Perloff and EJ. Hey, you actually just jumped in on what I was going to say. I think that it's going to be the end of the Reed Super Bowl experiment with Mahomes. I think that Lamar, I think John Harbaugh is a better coach than Reed. I think what you're going to have is what Perloff said earlier. I believe you have Lamar throw the ball under 21 times. You stop Pacheco. You control the clock. That's the way you beat them. And then I think that I think you take Detroit and take the points. I don't know that Shanahan is just maybe another version of Andy Reid, that maybe he might flame out and never get a Super Bowl. But the thing is, if you guys want to rate, take away all the Super Bowls, what are what are your ratings of the coaches right now from first to fourth? That would be my question.
Okay, so 4 coaches remaining. How do we do them 1 to 4?
Oh, so
I
tough.
love it. Oh, man, if you take the Super Bowls away, too.
He
It's hard
said,
to do.
what do you mean if you take I don't totally understand how
Well,
you do that.
Andy Reid has 2. John Harbaugh has 1. Kyle has 0.
I think he means like basically like forget about like history, like what like this
Today,
year or
this
today.
weekend.
Exactly.
Right. This weekend, who do you want?
I'll tell you, I'm gonna start with Dan Campbell at 4 because he's made some bad decisions over the last. Going for 2 from the 7-yard line haunted me.
Oh, come on. I love the aggressiveness. Not of that particular play, but...
Well, I hope he doesn't replicate that. I'm going to go with...
So you're going backwards.
I'm going backwards. I'm actually going to go... Wow. I'm going to go Kyle Shanahan 3 because he has similar game management problems. Then I'm going to go John Harbaugh 2 and Andy Reid 1. And the reason I put Andy Reid 1 is because he's the best game planner of these 4. In game, all bets are off. But he's the best game planner of these 4.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go Harbaugh, Reid. I mean, Shanahan's game management is just, it's not great, but I'll do Shanahan and then Campbell. I feel weird putting Dan Campbell last. I like what he's about. I mean, never met a 4th down he didn't like. You want to win. You want to change things up with the Lions. You want to not be losers anymore. A lot of this is, you got to take a couple swings. And the guys all know it's coming, right? Like, he's never surprising anybody. Like, oh my gosh, we're going for it here. It's like ingrained into who they are.
Yeah, I just think there's been the last several weeks, there's been some late game stuff. You know, I think, did he handle the Dallas game well? I know there was a bad officiating call, but I don't think he was really on top of that one at all. So honestly,
Mike McCarthy, and he got bailed out.
All the game management, you could be a great coach and screw this up. Everyone's going to screw up something. But game plan wise, these are really, I mean, Shanahan and Reid, their offenses are crazy good. Harbaugh just seems to have the experience. So let's say it's a lack of experience. That's not as insulting to Dan Campbell. I mean, I love that man. I'm on that bandwagon a lot.
How dare you insult Charles Barkley's favorite NFL coach? Andrew Bogish is here. Hey, Andrew.
Guys, hello. The Lions will not have to deal with the rain in Santa Clara like the Packers did last weekend. But as we've been discussing this morning, just being outdoors is sometimes an issue for Jared Goff. And what about those loud Niners fans?
Man, how important is the 12th man going to be on Sunday?
What's that?
The 12th man, how important is the 12th man going to be on Sunday?
We don't call him the 12th man here. But our crowd's very important. Our crowd, I think, is the best in football. They travel extremely well. They don't have to travel this week. I hear the Lions fans traveled pretty well. I mean, we love having a home field advantage.
That's Kyle Shanahan saying no thanks to a 12th man reference.
Yeah.
That's a Seahawk thing.
I mean, that's kind of a niche on the reporter's part, right?
One thing I love about
Texas
Kyle,
Longhorns too.
One thing I love about Kyle Shanahan is he really embraces rivalries. Like, I think that part of the reason why he shut that down too was because, like, division rival, I'm not even gonna play nice here. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And he hates the Cowboys more than maybe most of America, which is crazy. The way he talks about the Cowboys, he's saying, "Oh, those guys." I was preparing for the Packers at halftime. Like, I love this about Kyle Shanahan. He's a true OG when it comes to that.
I think that was a lot about. I also read that was a lot about Texas A&M because that runs pretty deep too.
Yeah.
You forget that why Kyle Shanahan and Chris Sims were at Texas together. That always is weird to me.
Doing what?
Shanahan was receiver, Sims was quarterback.
Playing football.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. That's why when you hear something come from Chris Sims about Kyle Shanahan.
It's coming from Kyle Shanahan.
It's coming from Kyle Shanahan.
I gotcha. Only the Seahawks and Commanders need a head coach still. Yesterday, the Panthers, as you just discussing, went with Bucs OC Dave Canales. The Falcons chose Rams DC Raheem Morris. Mike Tomlin, meanwhile, needs an offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh. And they're reportedly interviewing Houston QB coach Gerard Johnson for that job today. The Nuggets, not supposed to lose like this to anybody, even the immortal Knicks.
Josh Hart for Anunoby. Left side behind the three-point line. Anunoby cuts to the foul line. Jumper. Banks it in. Did he call it? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. At home, you ain't got to call it, John. Those are the rules.
That's Monica McNutt and John Giannone, Knicks Radio. You can have a good time when the team's on its way to a 122-84 Denver destruction. Biggest loss of this season for the Nuggets. OG Anunoby scored 26. The Knicks have now won 5 straight. 11 of their last 13. There was some good news last night for Denver. Nikola Jokic, an all-star starter alongside LeBron, Luka, KD, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's Giannis, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, and Tyrese Halliburton in the East. LeBron, the first person picked for 20 NBA All-Star games. A top 10 battle in women's college hoops last night. Top-ranked South Carolina, a 76-70 win at number 9 LSU. Dawn Staley's team surviving a hostile environment in Baton Rouge.
Obviously a crazy crowd. I know they weren't very friendly to you, but I just wondered, what has it been like to watch women's sports?
Actually, they were. They were calling me Boo.
Well then.
See what you did there, guys? You get that?
They were calling me Boo.
Yeah.
That is like, is there mom jokes? There's dad jokes. That was kind of like a mom joke.
I think there should be.
That was an all-time dad joke from her.
It was. It was good, though.
Pretty good.
Made you think.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
It reminds me a little bit of The Simpsons, where they were booing Mr. Burns. They're
Yes.
like, no, they weren't saying boo. They were saying booer.
Well, this is you hitting on Pete again with us. That's
right.
Mr. Burns.
I know. This is me winking at everybody.
Novak Djokovic denied an 11th Australian Open title in a 25th major, losing his semifinal in 4 sets to Jannik Sinner. He's now beaten Djokovic in 3 of their last 4 meetings. Daniil Medvedev won the other semi in 5 sets over Alexander Zverev. Jurgen Klopp will step down as Liverpool manager after this season. His 9 years so far, including an EPL title and a Champions League crown. Klopp says he is simply running out of energy. The Arizona
Yeah, that's kind of fitting for someone whose last name is like Klopp. It kind of sounds like you're running out of energy.
You know, to
Mom joke alert.
to bring this,
All right, never mind.
No, I like
Let me
it.
get the salad dressing out of my purse.
to bring this into the show, Andrew Kaplan, Jurgen Klopp separated at birth. You put on a Liverpool hat on Kaplan's head, and they are very, very similar.
Oh, really?
How can we
Yes.
use this to our advantage?
He's the wizard. I mean,
he would be the person to make
Yeah.
the picture. I don't know if he's willing to do
Himself?
Yeah.
He's usually too busy making fun of us.
right.
I'm not seeing it.
You don't see it?
Not seeing it. And
Oh,
I
see it.
love lookalikes. I'm trying.
How about we walk around the city and say he is the coach and
Jurgen Klopp. And what kind of response do you think that's going to get?
who?
Wait, you think this looks like Kaplan?
Yeah,
I think if you put Kaplan, a hat on Kaplan, I think they look similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask this politely and with
please.
a lot of and
Go
with
ahead,
full
loser.
respect.
Yeah.
When's the last time you changed the prescription on your glasses?
You know what? Fair question. Within the last 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I was giving you an out there.
I'm going to stand by this.
I also have a question too. Maggie, where's your hat?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Pete.
Can I wear it backwards this time? I'm wearing the loser trucker hat today because
that would be a
apparently
no.
I'm a loser.
I feel like if you mix Andrew Kaplan with a generic one of those movie bad guys from Russia, because Klopp he has this sort of Russian look or sorry, this sort
Definitely
of European
a Bond,
look.
Definitely a Bond villain.
He looks
type.
like a Bond villain.
Yeah.
Also be a Batman goon.
Are you
Honestly,
saying Cap's not dangerous?
I can get Cap as a Bond villain a little bit, but just like the guy who's on the computer who's like breaking into the breaking the codes.
Right.
As a hacker.
Yeah.
As the card,
dark
everything.
room, a million screens, all those codes going
Yes.
across them.
Just like numbers flying
Yeah.
by. It's like bank accounts and just blockchain and Bitcoin or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Klopp's got this square jaw and this intense look. That's not Kaplan, is it?
I think it is.
I also could see Kaplan. Now we got to put his face up somewhere. Kaplan, can you put your face up on the screen for everybody? Please. Kaplan to me looks like a card counter. Like
All
you
right.
walk into a casino, they got eyes on Kaplan.
Okay.
So he's
Yeah.
loaded.
He's loaded. Yeah, I think so.
He's just doing
Secretly.
this for fun.
It's a side hustle.
Yeah.
The Arizona Diamondbacks are signing veteran outfielder Jock Peterson. The Rangers adding veteran righty David Robertson to their bullpen. And the Edmonton Oilers now on a 15-game win streak, 3-0 over Chicago. They are the 5th team to have such a long streak. They are 2 wins shy of the all-time mark. Guys,
Wow,
back
that's
to you.
pretty impressive. Thank you, Andrew Bogish. Coming up, we've got picks to make. We'll do it Maggie and Perloff style next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff's NFL picks.
All right, we're getting down here, nitty gritty. How about this for records? Perloff 31-29. I'm 29-31. This is going to be a photo finish, hopefully. if I have anything to say about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Come back.
This is real close here. This is a tough week. I like both these spreads. Honestly, well, you know what? Who goes first? I'm leaning, so I go first.
Well, let me explain again how we do it, just in case you're new to the show. 3 picks, 1 over, under, 1 against the spread, 1 player prop. That's how we do things around here. So, if you would like the floor, you can have it.
Okay, I'm going to start. I'm going to take Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, -4. I wish it was 3. I really wish it was 3. Yeah. The Ravens, their general trend is to start out hot and then let teams come and backdoor cover, or they just blow out the good teams. I just think it's their year. I also love this stat about teams that beat Josh Allen tend to lose the next game in the playoffs. Go Ravens. Who do you got?
Okay, I'm going to go right against you. Give me 4 points with Patrick Mahomes, even if it's on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, how can I deny that?
Yes. Listen, I totally understand. Okay, for my total, again, I wish it was a little lower, but 51.5, San Francisco, Detroit. This is a fan in me. I just want to sit there, get my popcorn, and watch these teams just hopefully go up and down the field. Here's my out on this. I'm hoping that Detroit was going to go. If they go behind, they're going to be at their own 12-yard line late in the game and go for it. Okay. And San Francisco not make it. San Francisco would have no choice but to score a touchdown there and go over to 52. It's going to be 28-24 San Francisco. I'm going to hit the over.
Okay, wow. And I like what the final score, hitting it on the head.
I hope so.
Okay, I understand intuitively you have 2 of the top defenses in the league facing each other in Kansas City and Baltimore. Unlike you, I do think the quarterbacks are going to be a big part of this, or you think this is not going to be a big Lamar Jackson game. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Through the air. I think maybe. We'll see.
I have trouble thinking with these 2 all-time great quarterbacks, we're not going to get points in this game. Seriously? 44.5. I'm going to take the over on this one. Mahomes and with Lamar Jackson. I know that Mahomes doesn't have these all-time great weapons. He still does have Kelsey. He still has Pacheco. They can move the ball. MVS made 2 big catches last week. Maybe he comes up with 2 this week. I don't know. But I have a hard time believing that game's going to go under. So give me the 44.5. I'll take the over. Casey Bull.
Okay. For my one prop, I'm going to go directly against you again. So we've watched KC the last couple of weeks. Who is the one player, and it's not Travis Kelce, who you're most worried about as a weapon?
Pacheco.
Oh, I say Rashee Rice.
Oh, Rashee Rice. Okay.
Who's been unbelievable. Baltimore knows this. There's all these stats. They're great at shutting down number 1 wide receivers. Marlon Humphrey might play. I'm going to go on the under on Rashee Rice reception, 6.5, which sucks because I love Rice. He's one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
But I just can't see this as a shootout. Both teams are going to try and control the ball. So that's my bet on a ball control game. Under 6.5 receptions, Rashee Rice.
Okay, very good. Well, I picked the spread in the AFC. I picked the over-under in the AFC. I would like to have an NFC Championship bet here.
Love it.
Spread things around a little bit. Been a little harsh on Brock Purdy. You know that? Not because I don't think he's good, because I didn't think he was the MVP. But I'm going to throw my weight behind Brock Purdy in this game. And I'm going to go over 279.5 passing yards. I think this is a Purdy game more than it's going to be a McCaffrey game. And so the passes, I think, are going to be there for Brock. And if they are, and if he doesn't get rattled, I think he could have a big game through the air. So over 279.5 for Brock Purdy.
Love it. I love it. I'm actually, even though we're going against each other, I am allowed to put a little money on that bet as well, per your advice. And I really like that one. Yeah, 279. He's had some big passing games. I say Detroit gets ahead, and then San Francisco's got to throw it late. There are a lot of outs on that prop bet, which I like.
There we go. So that's your 3 bets each, Maggie and Perloff style.
Can we do our alternate bets that we almost did?
Yeah, sure. You're also receiving votes. You're also receiving money.
I also receive votes. 7.5 is way too much in this game. I think the Lions are going to...
I want to take it so bad.
I want to take it so bad, but we already committed to the other one.
Yeah.
George Kittle game. I feel like a big George Kittle game, and I always feel that way.
Big George Kittle game, big Brandon Ayuk game.
Ayuk is great. On the other side of the ball, Gus Edwards, he went up from 39 to 45. Feels like he's going to have some success here in this game.
What did the Lamar rushing prop end at?
65.5. It's right about. It's pretty right.
He's
By
going
the
to
way,
blow through. By the way, the Mahomes rushing. Did you look at the Mahomes
No, what
rushing
is it?
prop? 26.5.
You know, it's getting a lot of
blow
money.
through that.
Lamar Jackson passing at 209. The over is getting killed by the sharps. I read. So yeah, that'll be so interesting. God, this is gonna be so fun. I don't care if we get it. This is gonna be enjoyable. Let's promise, even though you're wearing a loser hat.
Yeah.
We are going to thoroughly enjoy this weekend.
Will I enjoy it as much as Charles Barkley enjoys Dan Campbell? Impossible.
I have fell in love with the Detroit Lions.
The Bills are
I
gone.
have a man crush on Dan Campbell.
The Bills are gone. The Eagles are gone. We're going to be like Rob Lowe and just love the NFL. This is, I don't know. This is going to be so super fun. We're probably wrong about everything. I can't wait to see how this plays out. It's going to be so fun.
Thank you, DJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Pilati, Andrew Kaplan, Andrew Bogish. I just mixed their last names together. It's time for me to go. Weedos, coffee drinkers, callers, enjoy championship weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Here's Tony.
You're in a 5-minute break.